He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
We've made it to Wednesday, a Yacht Rock Wednesday. The middle part of the week, the hump day, all of those things. And we're glad to have you with us here on a Wednesday afternoon here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone, and where you can always listen to us for free on the iHeartRadio app. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. My name is Craig Way. Thanks so much for joining us. We're with you each and every weekday afternoon, Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. One more time, we will prevail upon the production skills of the Super Promo Kid and erstwhile drummer of the band Number One Babe. That would be Antone Lycum, who joins us. We're trying to get him to the finish line here before Jake Herman returns from his vacation to the nation's capital to visit his folks back home there. But I'm glad you're here for one more day to put up with this one more day.
I am so thrilled to be here, Craig. There's no putting up with it. It is only enjoyment. And I think, Jake, if you're listening, you could take another couple days off, but it's okay. There's no one more deserving in the world than a vacation right now than Jake Herman.
That's right. I'm sure he's had a good time there, and I'm sure he'll be back tomorrow to do that. All right. We do have a busy program today. Here's what we have coming up today. We are a few minutes away from visiting with Mark Faber, who's the general manager of NASCAR at COTA, because today was the day the new dates for NASCAR for 2027 was announced for Circuit of the Americas for COTA. So we're going to visit with Mark talking about that. He's also the executive vice president of GM of Texas Motor Speedway, and their date is out there as well. But we're gonna do that. Excuse me. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll visit with Mark Faber to talk about, get you caught up on the NASCAR scene at COTA. We'll look forward to visiting with him on that. We do have Inconceivable this hour, so just to prepare you for that. Got a pretty creepy story about one thing. How are you when it comes to spiders?
Never been a problem for me, really.
Really?
It's a bug, and it's kind of one of those, like, I'd prefer to see a spider than a mosquito. You know what I mean?
Okay. So no arachnophobia for you?
No.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Don't get me near a snake.
Oh,
Yeah.
So they're reptiles. Okay,
Yes,
that's an issue.
yes.
Okay. All right. I will. So anyway, we'll have Inconceivable a little bit later on this hour. Next hour, 3 o'clock hour, we continue with our SEC preseason previews as we visit with each of the play-by-play voices around the Southeastern Conference. You get a preview on the specific school for whom they broadcast. So far this week, we have visited with Jeff Dantzler, play-by-play voice of the Georgia Bulldogs, and yesterday, Chuck Barrett, the play-by-play voice of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Today, we look at the Florida Gators, and we'll visit with our friend Sean Kelly, the voice of the Gators. So that's coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. We'll do that. And then in the 4 o'clock hour, we'll hear and we'll hear some parts of this sprinkled in in the first 2 hours of the program as well. But we're going to hear more Dallas Cowboys sound, more from Brian Schottenheimer. Shotty, first couple of days in pads in the books. So we'll hear from him and a couple of players as well. So we'll look forward to that coming up, especially in the 4 o'clock hour. The other thing we're doing, and we've kind of had it, in conjunction with our college football previews, is that we're giving away copies of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Now, we started this on Monday, and we're giving away one copy per hour every day of the show for 3 weeks. So this is week number 1. So we've already given away 6 copies, 3 on Monday and 3 yesterday. So we've already given away that, and we're going to give away 3 more copies. And what we've been doing is mixing in some relatively easy to answer trivia, along with just some random nature. If you happen to be, say, whatever, the 6th person or 11th person, as we had yesterday, using our talkback feature. That's the key to be in the running on this, to have an opportunity, is to utilize the talkback feature from the iHeartRadio app. If you don't know how to do it, and most of the folks know, so if you'll just indulge me for those who don't know, the way this will work is on your smartphone, talking about either an iPhone or an Android, whatever it might be, download the iHeartRadio app. It's real easy to do, and it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. You just download the app. And from your app store or however you download your apps. Then you do a search in your search bar or search window or the little search magnifying glass, whatever, however you utilize that. You search AM 1300 The Zone, and it'll pop right up. And when it does, you're going to see 2 buttons. One's a little white one shaped like in a arrowhead or a triangle. That's to listen to what's going on in the air. But the button for the talkback is the red button with the little white microphone in it. You just tap that button, and it instantly gives you a direct line to us where you can leave us a message of up to 30 seconds. Now, you won't need 30 seconds to tell it to answer the question or to be the random person. When we do the random ones, all you have to do is say, I want the magazine. But we have a question for you, a trivia question for you this hour, the first hour of the program. And like I said, none of them are going to be just real mind benders on this deal. But you have to use the talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app in order to qualify to win a copy of the magazine. So here's the question. If you've looked at the Texas Longhorns non-conference schedule, everybody's pointing to September 12th, and with good reason. Ohio State is coming in, and so the Longhorns are going to be dealing with Ohio State. The week after that, they'll host UTSA. The first week, the week before the Ohio State game, is the season opener. And for Texas, it'll come against the school 28 miles down the road from us, Texas State. The Bobcats will come into DKR, Texas Memorial Stadium. When Texas State comes in, it will be the second time that the 2 schools will have met in football. Only the second time in college football that Texas and Texas State have played. The first time they were still known as Southwest Texas State. But this will be the second time. What I want to know is that first meeting, you don't have to give me the exact year, but if you can tell me the decade when they played, the one other time they played, the first correct answer on the talkback feature. Now, if you happen to know the year, that's bonus. But if you can tell me the decade that Texas last played Texas State, the last time they played them in football, I'm looking right at it right now. So if you know that, be the first person on the talkback feature, on the talkback line. Again, download the iHeartRadio app. Then after you download the app, then you search AM 1300 The Zone. Once you do the search and it comes up, you tap that red button with a white microphone and you tell us. You say, the answer is, if you know the year, fine. If you know the decade, fine. Even if you just get the decade and you're the first to do it, you will win a copy of the magazine. Now, we'll give away copies in the 3 o'clock hour and the 4 o'clock hour as well. So if you don't get it this hour, don't worry about it. You still have plenty of chances to win. All right, up next, we'll shift gears, kind of play on words there, talk a little NASCAR. Mark Faber from COTA and NASCAR at COTA will join us next here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
Fall in Texas means one thing: Texas Longhorns football. And you won't miss a snap all season long right here on 1300 The Zone. Touchdown, Texas! Your home for the Horns. Hook 'em.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. What are your rights and responsibilities? Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Austin, San Antonio, and St. Louis.
No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges, no monthly fees. iHeartRadio is different. It's 100% free. Download the iHeartRadio app now.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
Progressive Insurance makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Every day, truck and bus drivers are out there keeping America moving and working to keep our roads safe. But large and heavy vehicles don't stop like cars. They need more time and a lot more space. When you cut in front of a truck or bus too closely, you take away the space the driver needs to stop safely. That space isn't extra, it's essential. So remember, don't cut it too close. Give trucks and buses room. Stay back, stay safe. America's pros rely on you. Paid for by FMCSA.
Now here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Credit. That's credit. Enter it now.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
When 60 Minutes premiered in September 1968, there was nothing like it.
We realize, of course, that new approaches are not always instantly accepted.
I'm Seth Doan of CBS News, and I'm excited to introduce a new podcast from 60 Minutes called A Second Look. The team at 60 Minutes has spent the last year digging through thousands of tapes, transcripts, and reels of film. And you're about to hear some of the sound that was never broadcast, like 21-year-old Taylor Swift imagining her future success.
Sometimes I get really overwhelmed when I think about, 10 years from now, I'll be 30. What's the sound then? What are the choices I've made at that point? Oh my God, what does my life look like?
Then there are the people you may not recognize by name, but who witnessed some of the most important events in modern history. Along the way, I'll speak with some of the legendary correspondents who reported the stories, as well as those whose lives were altered after sitting down with 60. Together, we'll hear how much our world has changed.
You're working in borrowed time.
You're not just saying that to scare us.
And how it hasn't.
You were either for the books or against the books. And it was almost like a civil war.
You can really draw a bright red line from 74 to 2024.
It's time for A Second Look.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
We all use AI, but here, it never pretends it's real. AM 1300 The Zone, guaranteed human. And we're back to the Craig Way Show. Have a message for Craig? Share it by using the TalkBack feature on the iHeartRadio app.
It's a Yacht Rock Wednesday here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. The late, great Gary Wright passed away a few months ago there with his offering of Love is Alive. You know what else is alive? Motorsports, not only around the world, but in specific here in the greater Austin and Central Texas area. That's why we have that wonderful, wonderful road course, the Circuit of the Americas, COTA, out at Circuit of the Americas, just off that southeast side of town. And they're happy and excited and proud to announce that NASCAR will be returning to COTA for the 7th consecutive year, coming up the weekend of March 5th through the 7th, where they'll have the NASCAR Cup Series race. They'll have the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race as well. And we're really pleased to be joined by the general manager of NASCAR COTA. Mark Faber joins us now. Mark, you know, I'm an old soul NASCAR guy, having grown up in North Carolina, idolizing the Petties and all of that sort of stuff. But I have always been a big fan of NASCAR racing overall, and F1 and IndyCar racing. I'm a motorsports fan, but I get excited when I see about it coming back here, and I know you guys must be excited about it as well, seeing that it's returning here in that first weekend in March.
Thanks, Craig, for having me on, and we are excited. And what we're really excited about is we get to announce it earlier this year, probably one of the earliest dates we've been able to announce it. So kudos to Speedway Motorsports and NASCAR for using the stair-step method this year, which is great. So we get to, you know, be in the third race out of the gate at COTA. It's great for us to announce so our fans can plan accordingly, buy tickets, camping, and make their vacation plans or their weekend plans for our great race weekend in March of 2027.
How important is that? You kind of touched on where I was going next. I was going to ask you about this. How important is it to have the earliest possible announcement of when the weekend will happen, because of things like not only ticket purchases, but the weekend packages, obviously, and the camping options? Do you see, and has research showed that the earlier these announcements are made, the more of an uptick you're going to get in ticket sales and the interest in the events of the weekend itself?
It has. Our research, and we do extensive research, Craig, and we also do pre-race surveys and post-race surveys. So our fans are great enough to fill out the survey, but it gives us a lot of data, and it also shows us what's important. And so fans will say, yes, I'm interested in coming. We say, great, let's sign you up. I mean, we have a great program where you can put a deposit down if you want to and lock in your seats or your tickets for the next year. But a lot of times the number one question is, when is the race weekend? That is the number one. And so many people say, okay, well, I'll just call me back when the race weekend is set up. And so this gives us firm validation of when it is. People can plan, like I said, whether they're going to be camping, whether they make hotel reservations, whether they want to visit family and friends in Austin. You know, we get fans from all over the world coming in. So you've got to plan for your flights if you're going to be doing that, your transportation. And so it's great that we get that head start. We're about, 7 months away or so from when we really roll into that COTA weekend.
That's the other thing I was going to ask you. Clearly, anybody who goes to an F1 race, or maybe to a slightly lesser extent, an IndyCar race, sees that international flavor with the drivers from around the world as well. But as a guy who grew up going to races at Rockingham and Charlotte and North Wilkesboro and Martinsville and all that kind of stuff, I also, in recent years, have noticed the uptick in the international interest in this. Has it been on a pretty steady rise with the international interest coming from the fandom, in addition to the good old boys, the guys who've been going to NASCAR races for decades?
It sure has, and we've seen that uptick. So last year's race, we had fans from almost all the states of the United States, 47 states out of the 50, but we had 10 international countries. Obviously, Canada and Mexico, proximity-wise. But, you know, we have people that come in from Europe, South America, Australia for our races. And so you've got to be really intentional, number one, to your point, and number two, a big fan to be coming that great distance. And our race that we have in Fort Worth 2 months later, you know, we're spread out in 2 months, and we manage that from here in Fort Worth as well. But we had 15 international countries last year come in for that. So it's a big, big deal. And NASCAR wants to continue to grow those markets. They had a race in Mexico City last year, which was a street race. And so they're always looking to grow the international flavor. And it's really important to our sport to grow.
NASCAR COTA GM Mark Faber joining us here on 1300 The Zone. I wanted to ask you about the feedback you've gotten over the past few years. This is going to be the 7th straight year that NASCAR has been at COTA. I remember I had a conversation with Christopher Bell before the race most recently, and he talked about how much he enjoys it. And maybe guys who were, it used to always be the tale was, the guys who were the road course specialists were the best ones. They were the ones that were like it. The quote unquote ringers that would come in to run at Sonoma or Watkins Glen. They were the ones who seemed to appreciate it the most. But the vibe I've gotten from hearing the interviews and talking to other drivers as well is that they've come to really appreciate a 17 turn 2.4-mile national course for this, and it isn't all about just super speedways. How about the feedback you've gotten from the drivers who have tested and run at COTA over the past 6 years?
Well, the beauty about COTA, as you know, Craig, I mean, you're intimately aware of the racing facility, is, you know, designed for motorsports, F1 specifically, and motorsports. So if you go elsewhere throughout the United States, you know, we most recently had a street race at the Naval Base in San Diego. You know, they've done street races, like I said, Mexico City, Chicago. So from a growth standpoint, that's a way to do it. However, what the drivers like is this was specifically designed for motorsports. And so it's really a phenomenal track. We think that the drivers really look forward to this coming in the third race of the NASCAR season. You know, we start with Daytona 500, then our sister track, Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta, and then, you know, our race is the first road or street race in the circuit. And that gives us additional visibility. Everybody loves coming to Austin. You've talked to the drivers. I mean, it's a family affair, right? They're bringing their family there. COTA Land is developing out there, which is going to be a great addition for us. So we really like the fact of, number one, the road race, but number two, the shortening of the track race, which you alluded to, was well received by not only the drivers, but fans and the stakeholders involved. And so we think we've got a nice winning formula there, and we hope that's going to prove out again this year. We think it will.
I think you just made a great point in talking about how this being the third race will come in a sequence where you go super speedway with the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. You have that. Then in Echo Park, down about a mile and have over a mile there in Atlanta. And then to this, I think it really calls upon a good test of drivers, not just because of the road course here, but just the variety that they're getting in the first few weeks on the NASCAR circuit.
Well, and you're right. And the variety is what kind of spices it up. And, you know, to your point about the drivers, SVG is the, you know, favorite at every road or street race that he runs, right? So he won last year on Saturday at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So everybody says, okay, he's going to come out and win the doubleheader, right? Well, he didn't. Tyler Reddick came out and won, and he was the first driver to win 3 races to start off with the season in NASCAR history, which is really phenomenal, a part of 2311 and Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin's team, right? So you do the variety of coming out, as you said, and being the third race with the road course. Then you get the optics and the extra boom with Jordan's team winning and Reddick, plus with SVG on Saturday. And it was a really big weekend for us.
One thing I wanted to give you an opportunity to do is to tell folks who might not be totally up to speed on the differences, say, between the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the Duramax Texas Grand Prix powered by Relodyne Cup Series race. So maybe some folks have a conflict or can't get there on Sunday, but Saturday is the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series as well. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk really about the whole weekend starting Friday, and then what the differences and the nuances are between Saturday's event and Sundays.
We have programming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're still finalizing our programming, Craig, for Friday. Still working on a few things there. We had IMSA on Friday last year. Then we have the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, like you said, on Saturday, and then the NASCAR Cup Series, the Duramax 400, but presented by Relodyne. But so we will have track activity with a series, maybe IMSA again, or another series on Friday. We have O'Reilly Auto Parts practice on Friday as well. So there is track activity on Friday. For the layman, and I've been here 4 years this month, so I learn new things every day, which is really exciting. You're a long time motorsports fan, and I've kind of dabbled in and out of it. But for the layman, what I say is an easy way is a baseball analogy, and it's not apples to apples, but the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series is AAA, and then the Cup Series is the major leagues or the big leagues. However, what's really unique about this is that the drivers on Sunday, the top drivers in NASCAR, also can drive on Saturday. And that's what really makes it unique, number one. And number two, for the fans, it's great. Like I said, SVG runs on Sundays, right? But he ran Saturday. So several of the drivers will run on Saturday, and you get to see them in both circuits, right? So you get to see them at different skill levels. Now, some of the rookies or some of the newer drivers on Saturday may not like that, right? I mean, you've got the veterans coming in. But as a fan of the sport, I think that's pretty exciting, because then you get that competition, and also the younger or newer drivers can learn from the veterans as they're racing on Saturday. And so that's what's really exciting about what we're going to be having come next March.
Yeah, it's a great point, and I'm an OG and old school enough and to remember seeing the likes of a Mark Martin or a Kyle Petty, Rusty Wallace, even the late Dale Earnhardt Sr., as well as Dale Jr., all run on Saturday and then come back on Sunday. And I always thought that it was a good test, because I agree with your analogy of the AAA, the comparison there. I always thought it was a good test for those young and upcoming drivers to measure themselves against some of the best in the business, while it not being a full-fledged 43-car, top-level NASCAR race. It's got enough of those big-time pros in there for those guys to measure themselves a little bit and see what their growth chart shows.
Well, you know as well as I do, and anybody that follows motorsports, racers like to race, drivers like to drive, right? So up here, as we prepare for our Texas Motor Speedway triple header weekend, we have truck O'Reilly Auto Parts on Saturday, the Craftsman Truck Series on Friday, and then we have the same O'Reilly Auto Parts on Saturday, and then the Worth 400 presented by Liqui-Moly on Sunday. But we have the triple header, right? We also are working on scheduling, and we anticipate dirt track racing Thursday night and Saturday night. So we're going to have 5 races in 4 days. Kyle Larson raced 4 out of those 5 races last year, right? There's several drivers that do this. Kyle Busch, God rest his soul, back in the day when we had double headers, not triple headers, he won 2 double headers. I mean, that's just unheard of, right? He had 2 sweeps. So we love seeing that, and we love seeing that. We might see more of that, down in Austin come March. It's too early, but to your point, does a Christopher Bell go 2 races? Does Reddick want to do 2 races? SVG does 2 races, and we really like what that brings.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, because as we visit here with Mark Faber, he is also the Executive Vice President, General Manager of Texas Motor Speedway. So the announcement was made. It'll be that last weekend in April, first weekend in May for the triple header weekend that you have there as well. I was a season ticket holder and a PSL guy sitting 100 yards off start-finish line, about 50 rows up, and just loved it when I lived in the Metroplex. I had that several years having the tickets for that. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about that weekend, because there's a lot of race fans down here who like to go to Fort Worth and get up there and see the race when they can in the spring race. And here it is coming up again. It'll be April 30th through May 2nd. We'd love to have you up here, Craig. So we'll find a way for you to maybe revisit, your former PSL days up here. We'd love to have you as our guest. Bring family, friends, and come on up here. We're excited about, that weekend as well. And again, it's announced earlier. So kudos to NASCAR and Speedway Motorsports. But we've had the past 2 years, full grandstands. We've had sellout in the grandstands. We've sold more luxury suites. We sell more luxury suites for premium hospitality. The past couple of years, we've sold more camping. For this past weekend, our camping weekend, and it's, again, not every metric is apples to apples, but within the Speedway Motorsports system is the biggest camping weekend we have, Speedway Motorsports. So that's a big deal. We have barbecue contests here. And for both, we're family affordable fun, Craig. I mean, look, we're family affordable fun. So for both weekends, whether it's Austin or Fort Worth, children 12 and under get in free for Friday, Saturday races. And on Sunday, here it's 12 and under is $10. And in Austin, it starts at $10 because the road course is a little different. But family affordable fun. So a family can get in for really a reasonable price. Tickets start at close to $60. With fees. So if you think about it, if you're going to come out for a Saturday, you can come for a family of four that has two younger children for $120 to $150, which is really, as you know, as the price of sports escalate from ticketing, food and beverage, et cetera, we really are conscious of that. That's where those surveys come in. So we're excited about that weekend. Our fan zone up here is a mile long. I don't know the last race you were at up here, Craig, but come up here and we have a mile long fan zone. We have sea lions. This past race, we had magicians, stilt walkers. We have trackside live where drivers are interviewed so the fans can come up and see their favorite drivers close up and be personal with them. And so it's smoke and sizzle. We have a lot of that. So the racing is always core, but we also want to provide other entertainment options for the fans. And that's what we do with our fan zones and other pre-race entertainment that we have. Hey, in this day and age of what it costs to take a family to a spectating sporting event, that is really economical for folks who want more information. First of all, on the series here, March 5th through 7th at COTA, go to NASCARCOTA.com. That's NASCARCOTA.com. And if you're interested in the end of April, the start of May at Texas Motor Speedway, it's TexasMotorSpeedway.com. And Mark Faber does a great job there at making sure both present great family entertainment. Mark, it's great to visit with you as always. I appreciate the time and look forward to visiting with you and seeing you out at the track. Well, thanks, Craig. And we have a great team here that produces the events, and just hats off to them. Thank you for the fans. We look forward to seeing you in 2027. You bet. Thank you, Mark. That's Mark Faber. He is the NASCAR at COTA GM and the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Texas Motor Speedway there as well. So great racing. And as he points out, the thing that's really cool about it is the dates are out there. You know that. You don't have to wait on it to find out if it'll work for your weekend there. That first weekend in March here at COTA for NASCAR, and then It'll be really realistically first weekend in May. It's April 30th, May 1st, May 2nd at Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth. All right, coming up next, we shift on a Yacht Rock Wednesday as we move toward Inconceivable here on 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
The next big moment is waiting at BetOnline. Whether you're backing your favorite team, building a same-game parlay, or chasing the excitement of live betting, you'll find all the action in one place. And when the final whistle blows, keep the entertainment going with hundreds of slots, classic table games, and live dealer experiences at BetOnline Casino. Enjoy the freedom of online gaming at BetOnline, where the action moves with you and every moment is yours. Bet on at BetOnline.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
This feeling is brought to you by Aleve for arthritis pain relief. What feeling is that? Well, it's the feeling you feel when you have relief from arthritis pain. It's that my hands don't hurt just holding things feeling. That, wow, I can actually move well feeling. You know, that go about your day without worrying about every little movement or ache feeling. Oh, yeah. Because Aleve targets arthritis pain at the source of inflammation for long-lasting relief, so you can keep moving through it. Feel up to 12 hours of arthritis pain relief with 1 dose. Feel Aleve. Use is directed for minor arthritis pain.
Hey, this is Hayes Davenport.
And Sean Clements.
We host the podcast Hollywood Handbook. Every episode, we're trying to help our guests improve their careers by mainly focusing on how they can help us improve our careers.
The show's famously super accessible, so you can easily jump into any of our 650 episodes and understand what's going on.
We recommend some of our recent episodes with Ben Stiller, Danny McBride, Riz Ahmed, and Mary Steenburgen.
Listen to Hollywood Handbook on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Hollywood Handbook and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
It's summertime, and Aleve is here to keep you on the go. Whether it's planes, trains, or automobiles, Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of back pain relief with just 1 dose, you'll get to your destination and be ready for your next adventure. So pack your sunscreen, your shades, and your Aleve. No matter where your final stop, Aleve will keep you moving. From sun up to sundown, Aleve's got your back this summer. Feel Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
A lot of apps like to say they're free until they ask for your credit card. iHeartRadio is different. No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges. We make money from our advertisers, not from you. It's the same radio you've never paid for. Live radio stations, playlists, podcasts, and artist stations, all in one app. So if you haven't already, download the free iHeartRadio app. Free radio. Always has been, always will be. Now wherever you go.
iHeartRadio. 3 years later, the wait is over.
Oi, welcome back. It's good to see you.
You too.
The 4th season of Ted Lasso returns to Apple TV Plus, with the first of 10 episodes being released today. Jason Sudeikis returns as the college football coach turned soccer coach, who now leads a women's team. The murder trial of the man accused of killing Tupac Shakur begins next week in Las Vegas.
All eyes on me.
Dwayne Davis is accused of orchestrating the 1996 murder and faces life in prison without parole if convicted. The Clark County District Attorney's Office has submitted a list of potential witnesses that contains over 200 names. The trial is set to begin August 10th. Shakur was sitting at a red light when a white Cadillac pulled up next to him and someone inside opened fire. On September the 7th, 1996, he was shot multiple times and died 6 days later. I'm Mark Mayfield.
There's concern over the health of Perez Hilton. Deputies responded to a home in Florida's Miami-Dade County last night after receiving calls that a man was live streaming on TikTok while hurting himself. The sheriff's office says he was taken to the hospital for medical attention. If you or anyone you know is in need of help, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline can be reached 24/7 by calling or texting 988. That's entertainment. I'm Daria Albinger.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, covering the 40 acres.
Well, it's inconceivable here on a Yacht Rock Wednesday afternoon. Yesterday, we talked about some ice cream, and we talked about new flavors and things like that. As a follow-up to that, I turn to Ice Cream Aficionado, program here. Consumer Report has just released its highest rated ice cream brands. If you were to guess, what would be the highest rated ice cream brand? What would it be?
I would say just on availability and nationwide popularity, although I don't think it maybe by quality is the best. I'd say probably like Blue Bunny, something like that.
Blue Bunny?
That just seems to be ubiquitous.
Do you have the buzzers like for correct and incorrect?
I do. Do I need to buzz myself?
Incorrect. Okay. Another shot? Take another shot.
Briars.
Incorrect. I'll give you one more shot here. Consumer Report.
Oh, Ben and Jerry's?
Ding, ding, ding. There you go.
Yes, yes.
All right. It nosed out, believe it or not, two that you did not mention. Haagen-Dazs and Bluebell.
Of course. Well, I thought Bluebell was like South only. I thought it was.
No.
Really?
You can get that anywhere in the country.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had it while on vacation in North Carolina.
Very nice.
Yeah. You can get Bluebell anywhere. So yeah, it is. It's been named best grocery store brand ice cream in existence. Ben and Jerry's. And supposedly their vanilla is the best vanilla. Some flavors are better for other brands, but vanilla, Ben and Jerry's. Believe it. And we were talking about yesterday, Chunky Monkey. And what's the one you like?
I like fish food.
Fish
Got
food.
the little chocolate-shaped fishes.
Yeah,
Fish-shaped chocolate.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And Cherry Garcia.
Of course.
That's really good there. All right. So anyway, yeah. Hats off to Ben and Jerry's for being named number one off of that. Okay. Now, let's get to the unpleasant stories here. We'll start off with happy couple getting married in England. And they were looking forward to a getaway on Tivat. That's on the Montenegro coast. Having just tied the knot. This happened just a little over a week ago. Newlywed couple. They had an 8:25 a.m. departure time from Gatwick. That's the big airport that's south of London. Okay, huge airport. Yeah, Heathrow was the one that's been around for a long, long time.
Right.
Gatwick it's been around a while. I went through Gatwick going to Europe back in '88, but it's the newer of the two. So they were at the North Terminal at Gatwick, and this couple were told that the airline that they were on, EasyJet. First of all, I think I probably have a little bit of reservation on getting something called EasyJet. EasyJet had sold more tickets than there were seats available. Standard practice with many airlines, although Ryanair and Jet2 say they never oversell their flight. So it prompted a couple of difficult hours for this group. Red Lake is the last one. And so they couldn't get on the plane. Then they were offered the false hope when EasyJet asked for volunteers to give up their seats and take compensation. One passenger raised a hand. So there was one spot on the plane. So the newlyweds decided they would stay at Gatwick, take the compensation, wait to be placed on the following day's flight. So that was okay. They said we'll do that. However, EasyJet said that if neither of you accept this, you're going to sacrifice your compensation. So Mr. Redlake said, they told me that either my wife or I had to take that seat, otherwise we'd count as a no-show and would lose all right for rebooking and compensation. So my wife got on the board and I stayed behind. Imagine starting your honeymoon that way.
It's a gentlemanly thing to do.
Yeah. So Mrs. Westlake was jetting off to the Adriatic Resort to celebrate the honeymoon alone. The husband had returned to London, spend the night at home. Thankfully, the couple were reunited about 24 hours. Off of that. This is how you're going to start your honeymoon. One of you can go, one of you has to stay as a result. Okay. There's a couple of other unpleasant stories here. This is why I asked you about spiders. Headline: Mom of 4 bitten by swarm of spiders on a family camping trip is now fighting for her life. It was a Kansas family. It was on a camping trip, and it has turned into a extended nightmare. A mother of 4 bitten by spiders developed life-threatening complications, and at one point given as little as 3 days to live. Duquesne Miller from Goddard, Kansas, sitting around a campfire with her husband Jake and their 4 children at Cheney State Park. Multiple spiders crawled up her leg and her body that left bites on her skin. She didn't think that much of it at the time. She didn't sound really that put off by spiders, kind of like you.
Yeah,
you know?
Maybe I should start being scared.
Yeah, well, 4 days later, one of the bites on her calf began to swell dramatically in burning, stabbing pain going up and down her leg and foot. Admitted to the hospital. She had developed a hematoma, needed immediate surgery. Nearly 300 milliliters of blood clots were removed from her calf. A drain was inserted to help the wound to heal, but she had 2 pre-existing blood clotting disorders that had been discovered during the previous pregnancy. And so then her body struggled to cope with it. She became frequently incoherent in the days that followed. She was developing end-stage liver failure. After 2 weeks, they recommended hospice. He said they gave me 3 days up to a month to live. So that was kind of scary. She spent 10 days in the ICU, further time in the cardiac before being moved to a regular ward. She received blood transfusions, plasma, platelets, antibiotics, and numerous other treatments. And 5 days into her recovery, the surgical wound became infected with staph and a graft-negative infection that caused, you always hate this, tissue necrosis. So there were 2 emergency bedside procedures twice since she was put on further antibiotics. She said she reached a point where she thought about giving up, and then all of her children kept her going. She fought for her life. She's not yet eligible for a liver transplant because her blood clotting conditions would need to be stable enough. The process it could take months. They think it was probably a nesting of brown recluse. I've been bitten by brown recluse, and I had it swelled up, pretty good sized hematoma as well. So I get that. I understand. That's a difficult deal. This is more difficult. Timothy Treadwell had developed a unique connection with grizzly bears, living among them, documenting their behavior in the remote wilderness of Alaska.
Not a good start.
No. He was with them, and then his girlfriend missed him, couldn't find him. Next day, a pilot arrived at the campsite expecting to take the couple home. Instead, what he found, what at first looked like the campsite was empty, then he noticed a grizzly bear feeding on something unusual, human remains. The pilot immediately backed away. They contacted park authorities. The rangers arrived and discovered the remains of Timothy and Amy. 2 bears were later killed. Human remains found inside one of them. So, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, don't mess with bears.
No, because they're bears.
You can't trust a bear.
Hey, listen, you can feed them and look at them, but at the end of the day, they're bears.
A bear is not,
especially grizzly. Grizzly bear is the most ferocious of all of them. Bears. All right. There we go with our inconceivable. We've had to wrap up hour number 1 here on 1300 The Zone.
Baseball season is here, and the Round Rock Express are ready to take the field. Hear all the action right here on 1300 The Zone. Whether you're at home or on the road, stay connected with Round Rock Express Baseball live on 1300 The Zone.
Hey, it's Hannah from Central Texas #1 sports bar, Rowdy Cowboy. If you love the Longhorns as much as Rowdy does, you will have to watch all the action on our 69 big screen TVs while enjoying ice-cold beer, craft cocktails, and our Texas-sized menu. And check out our Monday and Friday steak specials. So saddle up and head to Rowdy Cowboy, located off I-35 in Round Rock. Let's get rowdy. Visit us at Go Rowdy Cowboy.
Skechers elite athlete OG Anunoby has been making history on the basketball court.
Anunoby tips it in. Unbelievable. What a shot.
He's been balling out in Skechers high-performance basketball sneakers, and the world has noticed. But how does OG train off the court to keep in peak physical condition? Hands-free Skechers Slip-ins Aeroburst. They help prepare OG for the physical demands of playing at a championship level. Get your pair of Aeroburst for only $165 at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever high-performance running shoes are sold.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Hey, making copies? Who are you? I'm future you. Oh, constipation with belly pain back again? Yeah. Our doctor figured it out. Your symptoms keep coming back because it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. And Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is the #1 prescribed branded treatment for IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily prescription pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Progressive Insurance makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Paid spokesperson.
Hey, food's here.
Thank goodness. I'm starving.
So, do you think you'll ever leave the house again?
Oh, everything still hurts from the car accident. Plus, I'd rather eat this sandwich than find an attorney.
Agreed. But I think it's time you call Thomas J. Henry Law. They've helped a bunch of people we know, and they're all happy with the outcome. I mean, they're one of the largest personal injury firms in Texas for a reason, right?
I hate it when you're right.
Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. Principal office, San Antonio.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Horns. And we're back to the Craig Way Show. Have a message for Craig? Share it by using the TalkBack feature on the iHeartRadio app.
As we were just visiting with Mark Faber, the general manager of NASCAR at COTA, these guys are going to be at COTA on Saturday night.
Sweet.
Toto will be there.
Wish I could be there.
Yeah. Out at COTA there at the amphitheater. They're on it as well. I put it out there, the trivia question at the top of the show for a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. When Texas plays Texas State on September 5th in the season opener at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium, it will be only the second time the two schools, who are 28 miles apart, will have met on the football field. I said, can you tell me the decade when they met the first time? Well, this guy right out of the gate not only knew the decade, he knew the year.
Craig, this is Riley Peckar in Taylor, Texas. Go Ducks, former Hutto Hippo. The first time Texas and Southwest Texas played was 1930. Hook 'em.
He's right. He's right. Texas won 36-0. It was a home game in 1930, and back then they were Southwest. They were actually Southwest Texas State Teachers College at the time. And
what a mouthful.
Yeah, and it wasn't long after the 36th president of the United States, LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, had been a student there at Texas State. So congratulations. You are the winner of a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Anton will be in touch with you to tell you how you can pick up your copy. But we have more that we're going to give away coming up here over the next couple of hours. Stay with us because hour number 2 is coming up. We are Sean Kelly, play-by-play voice of the Florida Gators as we continue our SEC football previews. We'll also hear from some Dallas Cowboys here in the second hour of the program. So stay with us. Another copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. This one will be of the random variety. In other words, if it's the luck of the draw for you there, based on when you check in via the iHeart Radio app. So that's coming up. Remember, all you have to do is download that iHeart Radio app. It's free. It's easy. You do the search for AM 1300 The Zone, and then you press that red button with a white microphone. That's the talkback mic. And then that's how you have a chance to win a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. We'll tell you how you can win in hour number 2 of the program coming up as we're talking college football, the NFL, and a lot more. Hour number 2 coming up on 1300 The Zone.
Ice Cube's Big 3 season is heating up. The most competitive basketball league on earth is on CBS this Sunday. The two best teams go head-to-head as Coach Nancy Lieberman and Greg Monroe's Dallas Power take on the 1-seed Chicago Triplets, led by Coach Dr. J and Captain Montrezl Harrell. Then Coach Gary Payton and the Boston Ball Hogs battle Nasir Kaur and the Detroit Amps in a must-win game for Boston. The game played the way you love. Watch live Sunday on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and catch replays Monday on BET. Presented by iHeart.
Hop in a John Deere Gator XUV for a day's work. Let's see what's on the to-do list. There goes the tree. And the fence. Not a problem. Because you've got a cargo box filled with solutions. Up to 4,000 pounds of towing capacity. And you're ready to roll.
The power's out!
Here we go again. The Gator XUV. Built for every kind of workday. Learn more at johndeere.com/Gator XUV. Nothing runs like a deer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Some apps say they're free, then come the fees. Not the iHeart app. It's 100% free. No required subscriptions to access the best live radio stations, free playlists, podcasts, and more. Download the free iHeart app today.
iHeartRadio.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
Just before midnight on Saturday, February 19th, 2005, Danielle Imbo and her friend Richard Petrone left a crowded Philadelphia bar. The two 30-somethings planned to walk to Richard's truck and drive home. But they never made it.
It does not make sense. It's like they literally vanished.
The two were never seen again.
Not just them, but the truck disappeared into the ether.
Was it an accident, or were they murdered?
No one had a motive to kill them.
Those same questions frustrated law enforcement. The FBI called it murder for hire.
Who killed these two individuals and how did they get rid of them?
Both of them weren't the target. One of them was the target. The other one was wrong place, wrong time.
But which victim was the intended target and why?
It was definitely murder for hire for Danielle, not for Richard.
You're right, it could be. But it also could be something your son did too.
No one was looking to kill Richard. No one.
He's your son. And in your eyes, he's innocent. But in my eyes, he's just some guy my sister was with.
Fingers were pointed, allegations were made, and lines were drawn.
That drove the wedge between the families.
What happened to Danielle and Richard?
I think that whatever happened to my dad and Danielle was planned and orchestrated and thought out.
I'm Andrea Gunning. In this series, I dig into my own investigation to find answers for the families and get justice for Richard and Danielle.
I just want some peace for my sister's soul, and I want some peace for my mother.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
This is KVET AM Austin, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, an iHeart radio station, and your home for the Horns. Guaranteed human. He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
Second hour of the program here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone on the Yacht Rock Wednesday. Craig Way, glad to have you alongside for the ride. First hour of the program, in addition to having some football conversation and some really good NASCAR conversation with the dates being announced today at COTA as well as Texas Motor Speedway of their NASCAR events. COTA's race will be the first weekend in March, 5th, 6th, 7th. Racing on Friday and practicing on Friday, the O'Reilly Auto Parts race on Saturday, and the NASCAR Cup Series race on Sunday, the 7th. And we had Mark Faber, the Vice President GM, on with us to talk about that and the races that'll be in Fort Worth at Texas Motor Speedway as well, coming up at the end of April, first part of May. If you missed any part of that conversation, want to hear it again or whatever, you can do so after we're done on the podcast page at am1300thezone.com. Okay. We also gave away a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine in the first hour of the program. That was to the winner with the answer to the question, with this being only the second time coming up on September 5th for Texas and Texas State to ever meet on the football field. What decade was the first time? And he knew not only the decade. Who was our winner, by the way?
It was Riley Picard.
Yeah, Riley. And Riley, a rare breed, both a former Hutto Hippo and a fan of the Taylor Ducks. So he's lived a lot of time. He's spent a lot of time along Highway 79 up there, I can tell you that. But he knew that it was 1930 when they played. The only other time they played in Texas, won that matchup 36-0. Okay, so I said we're giving away a magazine every hour of the program, and we're alternating it between some trivia questions and the random lottery-based nature of it. And that's what's on the table this time. You have to contact us via the iHeartRadio app through our TalkBack microphone. And again, if you don't know how to do it, you download the iHeartRadio app on your smartphone, either iPhone or Android, real easy to do, and it's free. So you download the iHeartRadio app. Once you have it downloaded, then you do a little search in the search bar, search window. You do a search for AM 1300 The Zone. It'll pop straight up. And when it does, you're going to see a red button with a white microphone. You tap that button, just like Riley did, and then you're in. This time, you don't even have to know the answer to the question. All you have to be, and this is the luck of the draw, is the 8th person to contact us via the TalkBack microphone on the iHeartRadio app. If you are the 8th person, you will win a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine this hour. If you're not the 8th person, if you don't win this hour and didn't win last hour, you can try again next hour. We're giving away 1 copy per hour for 3 weeks. So you got a shot somewhere along the line, either through the luck of the draw or knowing some trivia. So anyway, there's that. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll continue our SEC football previews. We will visit with Sean Kelly, the play-by-play voice of the Florida Gators, get his thoughts on the Gators. The Dallas Cowboys have had 2 days in pads, back on the field. Of course, this is the first day for Longhorn football practice. And tomorrow we'll hear from head coach Steve Sarkisian on day number 1 on the practice field as they go at it later this afternoon. As far as the Cowboys are concerned, in training camp in Oxnard, California, the veteran guard, the 5-year veteran Tyler Smith, was asked what it's like to go up against Quinnen Williams, an accomplished defensive lineman, and others in training camp.
I mean, I think it's great for me and great for him as a player. I think just being able to go against somebody every day that's going to push you to be your best. And, like, you know, there is going to be times when you win. There's going to be times when you lose. But ultimately, what are you learning from that rep? What are you learning from those experiences? And that's something even in year 5, like, and he's like, what, year 8, year 9? Like, that's something that we're both learning and both going through. You know, through going through those reps in practice and just having those live reps, I kind of figure out, you know, what works for me and, like, you know, what is successful, what gets you in trouble and things of that nature. I feel like where we were at last year, I didn't feel like we had as many live reps, but definitely, like, you know, getting the training camp experience has definitely been better. I feel like it's a whole different brand of physicality. We get way more good on good reps than we do during the season because, you know, there's not as much load management there. But I feel like it's really great work.
And especially against him, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, him, KC, like, you know, Big Tito, like all those guys, like they're heavy in the middle. Like, you know, like when you go against them, like you got to come with your business.
Yeah, come with your business. Get it ready. The business also of the battles, whether it's left tackle, left guard. And, you know, Brian Schottenheimer has been very outspoken about it. He's been very direct in talking about the rotating of guys, including Smith, whether it's left guard or left tackle with Tyler Guyton there and Guyton's development.
I mean, I think we got to stay ready for anything, but I'll just say this. I have the utmost confidence in Tyler. I mean, you know, not everybody sees it, but, you know, we work together in the summer. We work together in the off season. You know, the body of work he's put forward, I feel like is going to pay dividends and people are going to truly see, like, you know, who he is.
Have you taken any reps at left tackle?
No, not today.
not in camp at all?
Nah. I think it was all inclusive. I mean, I think it was dieting. You know, I think it was recovery. I think it was the way he trained, like cross-training, all those different things. I think, you know, it was more than just, you know, maybe I'll eat better during the week or more than just, okay, maybe I'll stretch before I go to bed. Like, I really think, you know, he took a step back and, like, saw what he needed to get better at. He truly attacked that on all fronts. Because anything can happen. You know, guys go up, guys go down. Ultimately, you got to be ready and play in many different positions.
So true. Jaden Blue, the former Longhorn, knows all about that and getting ready to start training camp with the Cowboys, or get underway in training camp with Cowboys, and talked about the little changes that have undergone with his position from last year.
Yeah, just being more intentional. Like I said, man, you know, this offseason, my main priority was just, you know, making sure that I, you know, stayed in the playbook and was doing the things that the coach was asking me to do. And, you know, I took that, you know, to the heart. And, you know, like as you said, you know, I'm having a great camp so far. And, you know, I didn't want to, you know, come in here and start slow, you know, like I did last year. You know, I wanted to make sure, you know, I came in here, started fast, and proved myself.
And he mentioned the playbook. He said all of that goes into trying to just get things to slow down for him a little bit so that it all feeds in easier.
Game is slowed down a lot to me. It's kind of coming easy to me now. Like I said, man, I probably know the playbook like the back of my hand now. So, once I know the playbook like that, I can play fast.
It also means that Jaden feels he's more acceptable of constructive criticism.
Absolutely. I knew that there was some, constructive criticism that was going to come with it, but that's all a part of it. And, I took that as motivation, and I also looked myself in the mirror like I got to be better, if I want to be where I want to be.
All right. We'll hear more from those guys a little later on. Later this hour, we'll hear from Brian Schottenheimer, the head coach. We'll do that. Up next, we talk SEC football. In specific, the Florida Gators. We'll visit with their play-by-play voice, Sean Kelly, next on 13 Under the Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
It's Bucky and BK.
And they let you buy a gator from like a PetSmart?
No, not PetSmart, Woolworths. Olds like myself understood that they had all kinds of fish and they had a pet department. Yeah, it was like the Walmart at that time, but you could buy pets in there. And I put it in the tub and stuff, and I had it for, I don't know, probably about 2 or 3 weeks, and then it either died or I let it loose in the sewer.
Is that the one that got chubs?
Yeah.
Weekday afternoons from 5 to 7 on AM 1300 The Zone.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena.
Stream it live on Disney Plus and Hulu. And keep listening for the next chance to win your way to be there.
Starting Monday.
Turn up the style with Burlington. Shop the brands you love and the looks you want without the high prices. From festival-ready fits to everyday favorites, it's never been easier to look good and save big. Burlington, where great style meets even better deals.
And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013, 800-444-2013, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
Free shouldn't come with a catch. With iHeartRadio, it doesn't. No monthly fees, no trial periods. Radio, music, podcasts. Download the free iHeartRadio app now.
Remember when everyone was creating those LeBron tribute songs? Now it's your time to shine. Create your own with Smile Tunes. Honor your favorite player, team, or your Little League star with a custom song from Smile Tunes. Visit SmileTunes.com and create your own anthem today.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
Now here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bonus. That's bonus. Enter it now.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
1971. It was a simpler time, a groovy time. Soul Train had just started chugging along. Everyone had a lava lamp for some reason. Weeble started to wobble, but as we all know, they don't fall down.
It's really something.
But it wasn't all Weebles and bell-bottoms. There was also the Vietnam War and a growing nationwide movement protesting it.
Look behind you. See the thousands marching today.
Across the country, people were speaking up, and the more they did, the more they learned about the hidden underbelly of the most powerful law enforcement agency in the land. I'm Ed Helms, host of Snafu, Season 2, Medberg, the story of a daring heist that exposed J. Edgar Hoover's epic FBI snafu. Hear the incredible true story that almost got buried.
I was told that it might not be published the next day or might not be published ever.
As told by the ordinary citizens who took extraordinary measures.
Getting caught was virtually inevitable.
To expose J. Edgar Hoover's secret FBI.
Many of the techniques were clearly illegal, but justified in the interest of national security.
If it meant some risks that were involved, well, that's what citizens sometimes have to do.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
It's the Morning Kickoff Show with Mike Hardball Hart and Mark Henry. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. Only on Sports Radio, AM 1300, The Zone. And we're back to the Craig Way Show. Have a message for Craig? Share it by using the TalkBack feature on the iHeartRadio app.
Well, on a Yacht Rock Wednesday, certainly some of the masters of it are Steely Dan. As I've often said, not all Steely Dan music is Yacht Rock, but there is some in the catalog.
Absolutely.
Just about anything off the Asia album would qualify, including Peck.
Oh, yeah.
So we do that. Our next guest is well-versed in a lot of different music, and I don't even know if he's a Yacht Rock fan because he's younger than I am, but I'm pleased to have a friend joining. And I've mentioned this on the air since we've been doing these SEC previews, that once Texas got in the SEC, I got a chance to get to know and meet some guys in our business that I never met before and didn't get to know. That does not apply to our next guest because I've known him when all of his work with the ESPN radio and NBA stuff in New Orleans and Oklahoma. And so got a chance to get to know him then even before he became the play-by-play voice of the Florida Gators. Sean Kelly joins us. By the way, how many years now is it for you in the fold there in Gainesville as the voice of the Gators?
Hi, Craig. Starting year 5, have you seen the Netflix documentary on Yacht Rock?
Yes, love it, and I like the ending of what Donald Fagen had to say about that, because Fagen is not on board with his catalog being a part of Yacht Rock. He looks down his nose at it. By the way, are you and your lovely wife, are you fans at all of the genre?
Oh, absolutely. And tell Donald Fagen to go cry in his money bag because it's made him a lot of money. So, come on, let's not. Yacht Rock is one of those things like, okay, it's Yacht Rock Wednesday. Like, that'll get me in the mood. Like, it's a mood thing, right? It's like, it's late evening lighting the grill. It's on a boat, obviously. Yeah, I mean, to me, it signals a time of, hey, let's chill here. And but it also, like, for my age and up, it harkens back to, God, my mom and dad had that on the turntable, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So,
yeah, makes perfect sense on that. You have the distinct honor and pleasure of being the second in a 3-day span, 3 days consecutive span of broadcasters in this conference that I'm visiting with, who will be working with a new head coach. Yesterday, Chuck Barrett at Arkansas, and of course, Ryan Silverfield there. Tomorrow, Tom Leach at Kentucky and the change that they made there. And you've got John Summerall as your new head coach there. And with what he did at Tulane was very striking. How has it been so far? And what's your impressions of him as he starts to put his stamp on the Florida program?
Day 1 of practice this morning, and by the way, huge fan of Summerall moving practices to the mornings. More colorful language in one practice today than probably 4 years under Billy Napier.
Really?
Let's see. Yes. Great staff, 2 new coordinators, obviously, as well, with John. And so there's a vibe. There's a lot of buzz around this team right now. Winning the offseason gets you nothing, but John Summerall somehow found a way, after all the Lane Kiffin drama around our league in the South and everything else, found a way to win the offseason, and he's got Gators on board basically as he begins training camp today.
Yeah. I mean, because it was going to be any time, as you know, and I just, the last time I went through it was 5 years ago when Sark first came in, that there's always that, the furrowed brow from folks, whether it's the longtime boosters of the program or even people who follow the program or whatever, about, is this the guy? Can this guy get it done? And what will distinguish him from the other? And like you said, you've already pointed out some things that he's already doing differently. And when we visited last year, the thing that kind of stuck with me is you talked about, Billy Napier is a good guy and a good coach, but it might not be the right spot for him at this particular time. And I think the same thing could have been said about Charlie Strong and his time at Texas as well. But it sounds like what you're talking about is that he is comfortably stepped into the role and already has his idea about how to change things and how to get it flipped and turned back around in Gainesville.
Yeah, and there's this kind of like I'm looking for the right word here. He's very candid, okay, and so he is quite honest. There's a transparency, maybe that's the better word, about what he knows, what he doesn't know, what he's got, what he doesn't have on this roster. There's very little blowing smoke. Yeah, there's some coach speak. Sure. I mean, that's just, it comes in the profession. I think there's some summer meeting somewhere where coaches go to work on coach speak, or they come up with their new term of the year, like, catch radius or high point. But there's less of that with Summerall. And look, I think he's been honest with the fan base, and I think his honesty with the players has already started to show through too, because of the way they've responded to him, the way they went about their off-season work. All these things are healthy, right? But again, no game has been played yet, and so I don't mean to throw rain or buckets of water or ALS challenges on anything here. Let's see how this goes when they get on the field, week 1, week 2, and then really the test, week 3. SEC opener against Auburn. He's got certain things at certain spots that give him a head start. And Craig, he's also got some stuff that, even though he had a portal and spring practice and all that, that's going to need shoring up. And then if he wants to be amongst the elite in the SEC, that's going to take a little bit of time.
Visiting with Sean Kelly, play-by-play voice of the Florida Gators, talking Florida football here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. Everybody likes to jump in and start with the quarterback, and it's kind of an interesting dynamic for the Gators, since Lagway was a guy that I saw and broadcast throughout at various points throughout his high school career at Texas, and so talented. And by the way, did a great job, and several other guys did, in that Florida win over the Longhorns last year in Gainesville. And now he's up the road in Waco, and you've got this battle for the number 2 spot. Would you say Aaron Philo is in the lead for that, or will time tell as practice progresses?
Well, I don't think, Craig, you're out of bounds by saying that Philo would be in the lead, but it's by a nose here, or by the neck. He has a jump on Tramel Jones because he knows the system that Buster Faulkner has brought down from Georgia Tech. So, not to mention Philo just a little bit more seasoned, albeit second string reps behind a very good quarterback up there with the Jackets. But I'd say Aaron has a little bit of a lead here, but it's a true quarterback competition that may last all through August. Actually, may even last into weeks 1 and 2 of the season. We'll see. Or maybe there's room for both of them in some form or fashion. We hear about, maybe they'll have a Tramel Jones package. I don't know if it will turn out to be that way. I don't know if Summerall and his staff know it to be that way. I just know this: both quarterbacks can run with the football. Jones may have the better arm. Philo has more time on task with this particular scheme. I think it's going to be who can command 2-minute and situational stuff, third down especially, and who can protect the football. I think that's what probably determines who ends up taking those starting snaps for Florida.
Interesting enough. Okay, how about the running back spot there? I mean, we got a chance to see some of Jaden Ball last year, and we've seen some other guys as well. How do you stack up and line up what you're seeing from the running back spot?
well equipped. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Jaden Baugh is the real deal. You all saw that, and it only continues to get better. That guy's a dude. And then there are a bunch of guys behind him. Duke Clark's one of them. There is actual depth in that room. I think at running back, they're very strong. This guy could be a little better pass pro. This guy could be better with regard for separation. But for the most part, if you're listing position groups that are good and ready to go for Summerall, running back is one of those groups. Wide receiver would be the other one. So on the offensive side of the ball, those two things are kind of your sure things going into the season.
And there are some veterans coming back on that offensive front for you, aren't there?
Not really. It's going to look totally different. Joe Moore comes over from Georgia Tech. That probably will start at center. And then everything else is a little bit up for grabs. Although I will say this, today at practice, it sure seemed like there was 10 guys that seem to be firmly in the mix that will take most of the reps. Some combination of 5 comes out of that 10 with more, at the starting center. Bryce Lovett probably is involved there too. But for the most part, you exited the majority of your offensive line. Several have gone on to the NFL. And then one thing that I found curious when in the discussion around the offensive line, Craig, is I go back to Summerall's transparency or his honesty about certain situations. He was pretty disappointed as to what these offensive linemen could do in the weight room, size, look, strength, all that. And they seemingly took the challenge as a team. And again, these are numbers, but the team added 14,000 pounds of weight to what they were able to lift in this offseason. So
wow.
It is somewhat eye popping. And when I looked today on the practice field for the first time after seeing them wrap up in April, there are certain offensive linemen, they look different. And that's easy to do when you're 18 to 22 years old if you put the work in. But it's something, it's a storyline through training camp. Who are the 5 and how's that going to look? I think probably if you go center to the left, that's going to be an easier situation to evaluate and get set. And then to the right of the center at guard and right tackle, that may take a little bit more time, and there may be some shuffling that goes on there. But we'll see. I just know that it is truly a work in progress, and they hope they got a big step taken in the offseason toward it.
Talking Florida football here for a couple more minutes here with Sean Kelly. Let me get your thoughts on what you're seeing all the way through on the defensive side, and let me get you to start in the secondary first, and then we'll work forward to the down line in the defensive front. But what about in the secondary?
Yeah, when you talk about returning guys, Bryce Thornton's in that conversation, and the leadership role that he's kind of taken on there kind of anchors really what's on the back end. There's no superstar. Cormani McClain, of course, is going to draw attention because of his background and his journey, out of Florida as a 5-star, what happened in Colorado, and then walks on at Florida now has kind of made his way back to what most people thought he would be. But if he's on one corner, you still got some decisions to make on the other, but they're good decisions though, Craig. It's like, I've got a 1 and a 1A, how do I divvy those snaps up? On the back end, it's just, again, kind of not superstar, but pretty solid, maybe more so in 3 years for the Gators, which is, a good thing. And health has something to do with that as well. Dijon Johnson's probably an NFL guy, and now he's back to full health. And so he makes an impact on that back end too.
Yeah. Linebackers?
Miles Graham. Everything revolves around him. And that goes from team leadership to knowing how to run that defense. He's the glue guy in the middle there. A slightly undersized linebacker, but that doesn't seem to stop him or his production. And he's got guys like Jaden Robinson and a few others around him that I think that, again, this is the story of the Gators defense right now. It's solid. There aren't too many holes. You're going to need somebody to step up and be a real star, like a Jaden Woods on the edge, or LJ McCray, who now probably at this point in his career probably needs to take this big step forward and change the trajectory of his career. So that's where you're looking at. And again, they kind of mix linebackers with the edge guys here. So I'm kind of giving you that whole group as to who can affect the passer and who can kind of anchor the middle. But I think it's solid there. And, obviously, if we just carry it through to the rest of the 11, the defensive front, I think, has to take a few steps. I think there's some lack of size as opposed to what Texas saw against Florida last year up front defensively. But we'll see how that works, under the Coach White scheme there on the defensive side of the football. So I think there are probably, I wouldn't say concerns. I just think there's some things that need to be fulfilled or like, again, let me just use Jaden Woods as the example here.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's a total freak show on defense. And if you look at last year's numbers and all that, they don't do anything special. Jaden Woods has got to be a guy that's going to be on the field all the time. And he's the guy that needs to be the first double-digit sack guy for Florida in some time. So, there's got to be an impact there. There's got to be a player that a team says, maybe we don't run to his side, or maybe we cut down on, or we get some help here and chip so we don't get this guy, sending our quarterback waist deep into the dirt. So that's kind of what Florida needs. They need that punch guy, and who that is remains to be seen a little bit.
Okay, so here's my feel like an OG, really old guy moment in this conversation. You have a transfer defensive lineman coming in from Baylor, a young man by the name of DK Kalu. His dad, ND, was a tremendous guy at Rice. There was a game that Longhorn fans ruefully remember as Black Sunday, a Sunday night game on ESPN back in 1994 in a pouring rain. It's the last time Rice beat Texas, 1917, and ND Kalu had a monster game that night. I think he had multiple sacks in the game. Then he goes on and plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, then goes into broadcasting and has served in several state championship games as my broadcast partner on some games. So like I said, it's a full circle moment here, but DK, I know, comes with some credentials as he transferred in from Baylor.
He does. And here's the crazy thing, just in watching the small sample size, and this is where you're going to teach me a little bit more about my own team. You'll see him make a play and go, holy cow, that dude can get it done. And then it kind of disappears a little bit. And then you get just enough to really kind of keep you engaged. I'd love to see that be obviously more consistent. So with the coaching staff, but that's the kind of guy. There's also another player, and I can't even get you the pronunciation of his name yet. I'm going to need another week, but he comes over from Jacksonville State, and it's like, how did nobody see this dude? And it's like, I think Summerall talked about this the other day. He said, look, how many first rounders did Indiana have last year? One, the quarterback. That's it. And it's what you do with some development of these guys sometimes. It's, can you find that diamond in the rough in this new world of roster building? It's the transfer from Baylor whose dad played, obviously, and football's in his genes. Is he ready to kind of take his step and be his own man on the football field? Those are some of the things that the stories around Florida will be like here in the coming weeks.
Wow. I'll take a shot. You talking about the redshirted senior Emmanuel Oyabadejo from Manchester, England, by way of Jacksonville State?
That's correct. And you got just about every single consonant and vowel correctly in that. So I this morning at practice, I'm like, I'm just going to keep saying it over and over. And I was like, I need another day or two.
Hey, wait till you open up SEC basketball play here in Austin, and there's another Lithuanian to go with Modest Vokatitis. So,
look, my NBA background's the only thing that saves me with the European players anymore.
That's true.
After having Vitas Masiauskas, Peja Stojakovic, I've had a few over the years, Boštjan Nakbar. But it's January. Is it January 2nd?
January 2nd, my friend. January 2nd, you'll be at Moody Center for the conference opener. Yeah.
That won't have any attention on it at all, will it?
And how about the weird deal? I know you've been made aware of this as well. This weird deal where each school in the SEC plays a non-traditional rival twice. Last year for Texas, it was Georgia. This year, it's Florida. And I don't know if you've got, and obviously it's for Florida playing Texas. I found that to be a weird scheduling quirk, but I'm told it has to work that way because of the number of conference games and the opponents and all that kind of stuff. And not every school in the SEC has multiple traditional rivals. You do, but
Yes.
and Texas does, but I wouldn't say Vanderbilt does, and I wouldn't say that, Mississippi State does, and I wouldn't say that some of the other ones have. I wouldn't say Missouri has more than one traditional rival. So I mean, it's a weird dynamic, I think, that the schedule makers have to go through with the SEC, with the basketball schedule anyway, playing the home and homes there against someone who you might not think of as a quote unquote traditional rival.
Well, yes, and it really is a weird thing too, because that's the basketball model. You and I both know the baseball model, where you can't have a weekend series against every other team in the conference. I understand that too. There's folks here in Florida that all they've ever known is playing Tennessee and LSU every stinking year in football, and this year Florida is not playing Tennessee, which seems blasphemous to the old school group, and the LSU thing as well. So, I mean, the trade-off is, you're going to play Kentucky and South Carolina on your football schedule, which for the first time, almost in my time in Florida, they're not playing the first or second toughest schedule in the country. And that's a relief. But even as quirky as this, Craig, and I know we're running short on time, but, geographically, Auburn is the closest campus to Gainesville, Florida. This will be my first game, as I'm going into year 5, of Florida-Auburn in football. In fact, in the last 15 years, Florida has played Michigan more times in football than they've played Auburn, and that's the closest campus to Gainesville. So help me understand that as well. So, look, I know the world's changed, and I love the expanded SEC. And look, for personal reasons, I hope Florida and Texas play each other in all 3 sports, the major sports, every year, and I'll ride that as long as I can. So the idea that I'll see you this fall and I'll see you in January is great. So I'll take it. Any trip I can get to Austin, I'm in.
And you'll see me in February on the return basketball game in Gainesville.
Correct.
There is that. Yeah. Here's the other side of that, Sean. And Texas fans like to wryly point this out. Texas A&M has, in its time since 2012, never, with a capital N, never played Georgia in College Station, ever. They've only played one time, and it was in Athens.
Well, just as much as the Longhorns love to ride poor Aggies on that, Florida also points that out as well, because we played Texas A&M seemingly at every opportunity that could come along. So it's interesting. A lot of it's heritage, it's academic standards, it's brand, all those things. To me, Florida and Texas align in more ways than a lot of the other schools if you put them head to head.
Agreed.
I'm glad you agree, because I just didn't want to think that I was being biased or crazy. But if you look at those 2 institutions, they're more alike than if you were to go start pairing up head to head other institutions in the conference.
Maybe that's why you played Michigan so much,
Could be.
And we got Michigan coming in here next year after having gone up there 2 years ago, and got Ohio State coming in here on September 12th after opening in Columbus last year. So, go figure.
Well, Craig, you and I both know this. Just wait 6 months and college sports will change again. That's where we're heading on this. So
no doubt.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to do this, and looking forward to seeing you when you do come here in October. It'll be an awful lot of fun.
Next time I'm on, what day will that be, and what musical genre do I have to?
You know what? I'm going to set this up so that game week we do Yacht Rock Wednesday again. You okay with that?
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm in. Yep.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Happy New Year, Craig.
You too.
Thank you.
That's Sean Kelly, play-by-play voice extraordinaire for the Florida Gators. Also, ESPN Radio does NBA conference finals for them, and does a lot of other things as well. Great all-around guy as well. All right. Coming up, we're going to hear from Brian Schottenheimer, Cowboys head coach, when we continue on 13 Under the Zone.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The comfiest shoes ever just hit Austin. Visit Hey Dude South Congress and see the best that Hey Dude has to offer. Whether it's live music, special deals, or the latest launch, we've got a lot in store. That's Hey Dude at 1708 South Congress. See y'all there.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. What are your rights and responsibilities? Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Austin, San Antonio, and St. Louis.
Hey, this is Hayes Davenport.
And Sean Clements.
We host the podcast Hollywood Handbook. Every episode, we're trying to help our guests improve their careers by mainly focusing on how they can help us improve our careers.
The show's famously super accessible, so you can easily jump into any of our 650 episodes and understand what's going on.
We recommend some of our recent episodes with Ben Stiller, Danny McBride, Riz Ahmed, and Mary Steenburgen.
Listen to Hollywood Handbook on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Hollywood Handbook and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
AM 1300 The Zone occasionally holds contests. For more information about contests on this station, go to am1300thezone.com/rules.
Skin is deeply personal, which is a strange thing to say about something that everyone can see. It can affect how we move through the world and how much of ourselves we feel ready to show. I'm Dylan Marin, and I'm hosting Skin Queries, a podcast from iHeartRuby Studio where we talk to people about what it's really like to live with a skin condition. Listen to Skin Queries on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Skin Queries and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
I'm Gary Veter, and I have a new limited series podcast called #1 Dad. In the 90s, my dad and I ran a con for years where we snuck into the world's most prestigious arena, New York's Madison Square Garden.
Your dad is the type of person that likes an adventure and likes the possibility of opportunity.
As I got older, I learned this wasn't the only scheme my dad was pulling.
He wants me to act like my injury is even worse for a payout.
He actually represented me. He's posing as my attorney in a court.
There were moments where Manny would assume the role of undercover police officer.
My father's never-ending string of lies ultimately broke apart my family. And at 15 years old, I completely cut him out of my life. That was 24 years ago. But I just had a son of my own, and it brought back tons of memories of my childhood, along with tons of questions I wanted answered. How did my father become this scheming mastermind? Was he like this with everyone? And is it possible, after all these years, he's actually changed? I have no idea where he lives or what he's up to, but my goal with this podcast is to track him down and get to the truth about who my father, Manny Veter, really is. This is #1 Dad. Listen to #1 Dad.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Texas Longhorns. back to the Craig Way Show. Connect with Craig through the text line by texting ZONE to 81530, followed by your message. Standard message and data rates may apply.
I couldn't see. I said if I can't feel it, then how could it be? No magic could happen to me. And then I saw you, I couldn't believe it. You took my heart, I couldn't retrieve it. Said to myself, what's it all about? Now I know there can be no doubt. You can do magic.
America drops into the Yacht Rock category. Got a chance to see him a couple of years ago at ACL Moody Theater. And it was right after Texas had opened the football season against Colorado State. And they blew them out, and I had to race over there. In fact, credit goes to my wife, Linda, for actually driving around a couple of the barricades down there on Trinity near the stadium.
Oh, very nice.
Now,
Yes.
the game had been over for more than an hour, and just about everybody was gone. But the barricades were still up. But she went down there to pick me up, and I went, skipping down there really quickly and hopped in. Nobody said anything, and boom, we were off to downtown and made it in time.
You had important business, Craig.
I did. Walked in right on the first number with America doing Tin Man.
Amazing.
It was great. Yeah, so we did
Amazing.
that. Let's hear from Brian Schottenheimer, the head coach of the Cowboys. First things first, the unfortunate news about the second-year tight end, Princeton Fant, and his knee injury.
Bull did suffer a ACL, got a partial MCL. Really disappointed for him for everything that he's put into this. Obviously, he was very disappointed. But I told him, hey, look, your story is far from over. He's been through this injury before, and the doctors feel really good about the chance for him making a full recovery. And so he'll have surgery here in a couple weeks once the MCL calms down a little bit.
All right. That's the first thing. He was also asked what he has seen so far since they've only been in pads a couple of days.
Really good back and forth. I thought defense did some really good things. I thought the offense responded in the red zone, a couple touchdowns. I thought the padded work was really, really good. There's a clip I showed the guys of the very first play. GP comes down, he cracks Marquise Bell. Demo and Hunter Lepke kind of collide in the hole. Ezra Rock, who's folding off the edge, he's unblocked, tags off, doesn't take a side shot. I thought it was really, really good work for the first time. Got the threes more work, which we wanted to do that. We need to get these guys ready to play, some real football, and that was good for them. And it helped us kind of figure out who's up to speed with our system. So overall, I thought it was really, really good.
Okay. All right. So they're, up and going and trying to make progress through this. And it would be an understatement to say that a head coach, in addition to watching the overall look of the group, is also taking a close look at some individual guys like Rebel Vaughn.
I think, when you talk about Vaughn, Clarence, when he puts his hands on people, he's strong. He's got great length. I know there's a reroute. He got CD in the cover 2 that was really cool to see. And that's kind of what he's focused on right now. He knows he's at his best when he puts hands on people. There's still a time clock. I'll use that example with CD, great reroute on CD. Once you get the reroute, now you have to start the second part of the coverage. And at some point you got to let him go, because he was still jamming CD 6 or 7 yards down the line of scrimmage or into the secondary. But I thought it was a very, very good day. Challenging things, putting hands on people, a couple good PBUs. I thought you felt his confidence. I think you saw his instincts, his instincts and the ability to feel things. And, you're playing different coverages down there. And, he's been around this system for a while, different places, playing with the Rams, a lot of similarities with what they're doing. But I asked him, it was a great play. I said, did you score? Did you get caught at like the 30? And he said, Shotty, hey, check out all my interceptions. They usually go the distance. So we'll see. But it was a hell of a play by him.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this, as a Rams fan, I also saw him get burned a few times too. But hey, there's some hope for Kobe Durant. And that's some hope for the Cowboy secondary as well. All right. Hey, by the way, we hadn't quite got to the number yet on the random talkback line to get that copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. I'm not going to tell you where the number is right now. I'm just saying, if you still want a shot, we did this yesterday, and we had somebody call back in on the talkback mic and won. So even if you've already done it, you can do it. Or if you hadn't done it yet, you download the iHeartRadio app, you search AM 1300 The Zone, you push that little red button with a white microphone, and you say, I want the magazine. And we'll tell you how it turns out when we continue on 1300 The Zone.
Get ready to cheer on your Round Rock Express right here on 1300 The Zone. From the first pitch to the final out, Round Rock Express baseball, only on 1300 The Zone.
Skechers elite athlete OG Anunoby has been making history on the basketball court.
Anunoby tips it in. Unbelievable. What a shot.
He's been balling out in Skechers high-performance basketball sneakers, and the world is noticed. But how does OG train off the court to keep in peak physical condition? Hands-free Skechers Slip-ins Aeroburst. They help prepare OG for the physical demands of playing at a championship level. Get your pair of Aeroburst for only $165 at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever high-performance running shoes are sold.
I love a girls' weekend, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin, thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
You can usually find me in the kitchen, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm still in the mix with Skyrizi to treat my joint symptoms.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe at 4 months.
Or if you're an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
I scream. You scream. We all scream. Because Wendy's famous small classic Frosty is just $1 for a limited time. More screaming, happy screaming, summer screaming, dollar small classic Frosty screaming! But please don't scream in the drive-thru. It hurts the employees' ears. Get a $1 small classic Frosty for a limited time, only at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. A la carte only, not valid for delivery. Limit 10 per transaction. Price may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Progressive Insurance makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
Daphne Caruana Galizia was a Maltese investigative journalist and blogger who spent her life fighting for truth, justice, and decency in a country overrun by corruption. But on October 16, 2017, she was assassinated.
There are crooks everywhere you look now. The situation is desperate.
Malta is a tourist paradise, but underneath its extraordinary beauty, there are some dark, dark shadows. This is a place where dark power and dark money likes to hang out. And if you try and tell truth to that dark money and that dark power, if you're a journalist, it can be a very dangerous place indeed.
They were asleep in their own beds, and somebody piled rubber tires out the back of the house and set them alight.
These are 5 car bombs within the space of a year, and nothing was done about it.
I was shaking. It was a mixture of anger and fear.
From iHeart Podcasts, Topic Studios, and Vespucci, this is Crooks Everywhere. My name is Manuel Delia, former political operative turned journalist.
I'm John Sweeney, a former BBC journalist and investigative reporter. Together, we unravel the web of deception, exposing the dangerous forces at play in Malta.
Crooks Everywhere.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
We all use AI, but here, it never pretends it's real. AM 1300 The Zone. Guaranteed human.
Thanks again to Sean Kelly for joining us as well. We're going to hear some more coming up next hour from the Cowboys. We'll hear from Brian Schottenheimer. We'll hear some more and from former Longhorn Jaden Blue, and also we'll hear from Tyler Smith. By the way, we did hear from somebody who wound up winning a copy of the magazine.
I want the magazines, George Hawthorne. I definitely want the magazine, George Hawthorne.
You got it, George. Good to hear from you. I run across George from time to time. He's a big-time Longhorn fan. So, George, your timing was served you well. You did it. And you picked up a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Antonio will be in touch with you to tell you how you pick it up. We're going to give away one more copy coming up next hour. Like I said, we're doing 3 a day for 3 weeks. We're halfway through the first week. And we'll give away another copy coming up in the 4th. We will also take a look at who really has the toughest college football schedule. A lot of different ways to look at it. Non-conference, conference, home, road, whatever. So we'll see. We'll take a closer look at that coming up. Final hour of the show right here. Coming up on Sports Radio AM 1300.
Hey, Kins. Yes, fella? Do you know why I like Fridays? Tell me. Because it's Blackout Fridays at Round Rock's #1 sports bar, Rowdy Cowboy. I get to wear my sexiest black lingerie. And Rowdy has its famous $19.99 ribeye special. And I get to wear my sexiest black lingerie. And we have ice cold beer, craft cocktails, and a Texas-sized menu. And I get to wear my sexiest black lingerie. And you can watch all your favorite sports on our 69 big screen TVs. And I know, Bella. We all get to wear our sexiest black lingerie. So saddle up and head to Rowdy Cowboy off I-35 in Round Rock. Let's get rowdy.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
In this edition of the Marketers Report, Giovanni Martinez, Senior Director of Marketing and Innovation for Avocados from Mexico, speaks on audio's reach.
We know how powerful is audio. I mean, with the frequency, the reach that you can generate with that component is something that we always have as an add-on in our campaigns.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Some apps say they're free, then come the fees. Not the iHeart app. It's 100% free. No required subscriptions to access the best live radio stations, free playlists, podcasts, and more. Download the free iHeart app today.
iHeartRadio. Hey, America. We need to have a little talk. I don't know if you've noticed, but we got a lot of food in this country. A lot of peaches, a lot of corn, a lot of apples, a lot of everything. We've got so much food that we can't even eat it all. So if we got all this extra food, how are 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger? I just don't get it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to the hungry kids who need it. They can get you food even if you live in Idaho or Alaska or somewhere crazy like that. This isn't complicated. We got extra food and we've got hungry kids. Feeding America's done the math. Now it's your turn. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. I know you got internet on your phone, so what are you waiting for? We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is KVET AM Austin, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, an iHeart radio station, and your home for the Horns. Guaranteed human. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Third and final hour of the program here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. Craig Way, joined by the producer, Antone Lycum. He only has to sit through one more hour of this nonsense, and then he can go back to the much more sedate duties there.
That's right. Yeah, I can go back to my little corner in the back of the office and hand out some magazines for the next couple weeks.
That's right. So we got that still going. He's going to continue to do that.
That's right.
As we give away the copies of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. We've given away 2 this hour. We have 1 more to give away this hour, and that's coming up in a little bit. We'll tell you how you can do that coming up in just a few moments. I wanted to bring attention to a piece about college football done by a guy who used to cover the Longhorns quite a bit back in the day. Jake Trotter did, I think, for Rivals and other folks as well. And writing for ESPN, he has penned a piece today, which is entitled College Football Schedule Superlatives for the 2026 season. Now, as I've often said, the person who writes the article quite often does not necessarily, in fact, rarely, has anything to do with the headline of the piece. They might suggest something, and if it works size-wise and font-wise and all that other kind of stuff, fine. Sometimes it has nothing to do with it. In this case, it does kind of have something to do with it. And he said he made a very good point in his first words, his opening line of this piece, when he said college football has never been a more chaotic mess off the field. Thank goodness we still have the actual games, which remain as great as ever. The start of the 2026 season, only a month away. And really and truly, even on the 0 weekend for college football, like the TCU North Carolina game that'll be in Ireland, and on that opening weekend, there are some games being played on that opening weekend that are ahead of the main week when everybody else kicks in high gear, including the Longhorns, whose season opener, as we talked about a bit today, is The season opener is coming up on the 5th of September against Texas State. So that's coming up. And there will be other games. That's the first big-time, full-time weekend of college football. So he said, so it's time to break down the schedules, analyzing which teams appear to have it tough and which teams, well, don't. He puts out some rhetorical questions here. Does anyone have a more difficult road than Ohio State, which must travel to potential preseason AP number 1 Texas? Now, he says potential because the AP poll has not come out. Remember, last year Longhorns were number 1 coming out and then dropped after losing in Columbus. And he says, does anyone have a more difficult road than Ohio State, which must travel to potential preseason AP number 1 Texas and defending national champion Indiana? Can Texas Tech overcome the loss of quarterback Brendan Sorsby and advance to the playoff for the 2nd straight season? Will Ole Miss be able to exact revenge on former coach Lane Kiffin when the LSU visits Oxford? Can Oklahoma and USC survive their brutal conference schedules? That and more on ESPN's annual preseason schedule evaluation. Okay, so he breaks it down into some categories. One of them, toughest overall Power 4 schedule, Ohio State. He said last season, of course, the Buckeyes beat then top-ranked Texas in the opener and cruised through the rest of the regular season. They faced only 2 more opponents who were even ranked. Number 17, Illinois, number 15, Michigan, and rolled by a combined 36 points. But the Buckeyes didn't see the Big Ten's other teams, Indiana, Oregon, and USC, and a number 1 showdown against Penn State didn't materialize as the Nittany Lions fell apart. Were last year's Buckeyes battle-tested for the postseason? Remember, they lost to Indiana 13-10 in the Big 12 title game before falling 24-14 to Miami in a playoff quarterfinal. In both defeats, Ohio State got pushed around up front. This season schedule is a very different story. The Buckeyes go to Texas on September 12th. In mid-October, they travel to Indiana on October 17th and USC on October 31st before taking on Oregon on November 7th, capping a brutal 3-game stretch. Should the Buckeyes return to the playoff, they'll definitely be battle-tested this time. So he says Ohio State is the toughest overall Power 4 schedule. The easiest Power 4 overall schedule, Texas Tech. Said Tech won't have Sorsby after a tumultuous offseason surrounding his eligibility in the wake of the gambling scandal. Yet the Red Raiders still have a path to the playoff with Will Hammond at quarterback. That's the former Hippo. Thanks in part to a soft schedule. Texas Tech's toughest non-conference game is at Oregon State. Not Oregon State, which is coming off a 2-10 season. He said the Red Raiders don't face Utah or BYU, the 2 other Big 12 teams ranked in the top 20 of ESPN's way too early top 25. So they don't have to deal with that. And he says the strength of schedule might hurt Texas Tech's case for an at-large bid, but the Red Raiders remain the favorites to win the Big 12 and punch their playoff ticket for a 2nd straight year. Toughest overall G6 schedule, group of 6 schedule, Western Kentucky. They have consecutive road trips to Georgia and Indiana. Then they have to travel to Nevada in the opener. That's the first game. And they finish out their non-conference schedule mercifully against Mercyhurst, as he says. The Hilltoppers' last 2 Conference USA home games come against Jacksonville State and Kennesaw State, which played in the conference title game last year. To win its first Conference USA crown in a decade, Western Kentucky will have to earn it. Easiest overall group of 6 schedule, Liberty. The Flames, one of the other preseason favorites in Conference USA. They have a much easier road than Western Kentucky. Toughest Power 4 non-conference schedule. It's not Ohio State. The toughest Power 4 non-conference schedule is Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech faces Colorado and then Tennessee in Atlanta to start the year. Then they play at Georgia to end it. On September 19th, they also played Mercer. Easiest Power 4 non-conference schedule, Nebraska. The Huskers narrowly edge out the Hoosiers for the nod here. Indiana does play North Texas, which lost its top players via the transfer portal to Oklahoma State. They also play Howard and poor Western Kentucky, which will be coming off its game against Georgia. Yet Nebraska gets Ohio and Bowling Green from the MAC, plus North Dakota, a solid FCS program. They're not to be confused with powerhouse North Dakota State. In case you're wondering, the Huskers haven't finished with 8 wins in a season in a decade. With this non-conference schedule, they have a decent chance to start 5-0 before Indiana visits Lincoln on October 10th. Toughest Power 4 home schedule, USC. They will face Oregon on September 26th, Washington on October 3rd, and Ohio State on October 31st at home. Those are all 3 home games. They also visit Penn State on October 10th and Indiana on November 14th, making its overall schedule among the nation's most challenging. Easiest Power 4 home schedule, Virginia. Their home slate features NC State on August 29th. That was a game that was going to be played in Rio, and then they moved it to Charlottesville. They said Rio wasn't ready for it, so moving it to Charlottesville. They also play Norfolk State on September 11th, Delaware on September 26th, Syracuse on October 10th, Duke on October 23rd, Cal November 14th, and North Carolina on November 21st. They do play West Virginia in Charlotte, but they don't have to see Miami as they try to keep the momentum off last year's 11-win season. Toughest November schedule, Oklahoma. November 7th, they go to Florida. They return to Norman to play Ole Miss and Texas A&M before they end the regular season at Missouri on November 28th. The Rebels and Aggies made the playoffs last year. They're currently ranked in the ESPN way too early top 10, and they have their quarterbacks, Trinidad Chambliss and Marcel Reed, returning. Florida, of course, is the new head coach, John Summerall. We just visited with Sean Kelly about that, the voice of the Gators. And Missouri boasts arguably the top running back in the country, certainly one of the tops in Ahmad Hardy. So the Sooners also visit Michigan on September 12th and Georgia on September 26th. And, of course, they have the Red River rivalry in Dallas against Texas, giving them one of the most difficult overall schedules in the country. Toughest 3-game schedule, 3-game stretch. Toughest 3-game stretch, Northwestern. They have a 3-week gauntlet at Oregon on Halloween, October 31st, Iowa at home on November 7th, and at Ohio State on November 14th. They say save the dates, October 10th and October 17th. I talked about this yesterday. Actually talked about it on Monday with on Monday in looking at the dates of October 10th and October 17th. We talked with Jeff Dantzler, the play-by-play voice of Georgia, about this because not only does October 10th feature Texas versus Oklahoma, it also features Georgia at Alabama and USC at Penn State. And as is pointed out by Jake Trotter, he says October 17th might be even worse for a wedding. You've heard those stories about people that schedule weddings in the middle of the college football season, and it drives some college football fans crazy. On October 17th, you have Ohio State at Indiana. You have Alabama at Tennessee, Notre Dame at BYU, Florida State and Miami, and Penn State at the Big House to play Michigan. Other games on October 17th include Auburn, Georgia, Arizona State, Texas Tech, Florida, Texas, Missouri, Ole Miss, Kansas, Kansas State, TCU, Baylor, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and North Carolina, Duke. The serving revenge category, the Kiffin Bowl, when LSU and Lane Kiffin returns to Oxford on September 19th when LSU plays Ole Miss. For international flair, there's Dublin and London, but not Rio. TCU and North Carolina play in Dublin on August 29th. Kansas and Arizona State will play at Wembley Stadium in London on September 19th. Virginia and NC State, as I mentioned, had their August 29th game scheduled in Rio, but ultimately relocated it to Charlottesville. And finally, in the category of jet lagged, in addition to flying to London, Arizona State travels to College Station, Lubbock, Provo, and Orlando. That's almost 20,000 miles of travel. Fortunately, their regular season finale is in Tucson. That's just a short 2-hour drive down I-10 to play Arizona. All right, there's some college football scheduling notes. We'll shift back to the NFL coming up on 1300 The Zone.
Baseball season is here, and the Round Rock Express are ready to take the field. Hear all the action right here on 1300 The Zone. Whether you're at home or on the road, stay connected with Round Rock Express Baseball, live on 1300 The Zone.
With the heat of summer upon us and baseball being the primary pro sport being contested, thoughts have begun to turn to preparations for the coming football season, especially the college and NFL games that'll be hitting us full blast before too long. Are you happy with how your entertainment system is going to present all of this to you? If not, give my friend Tom McKay at Audio Visual Consultations a call. You've heard me tell you what experts Tom and his staff are when it comes to home entertainment. But AV Consultations has expanded to become dealers and custom installers of Foresight golf simulators. So if you're wanting to improve your golf game, AV can get you hooked up with a Foresight simulator that can do the trick. AV Consultations now also offers full home and landscape lighting and automated lighting control. Give Tom McKay and his staff a call today, 512-255-8678. That's 512-255-8678, or you can find them on the web at avconsultations.com. Let Tom McKay and Audio Visual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment system of your dreams.
When I beat the guys in my fantasy league, text wasn't enough. I used Smile Tunes to create a victory ballad specifically naming everyone I defeated. It was the most beautiful way to be a terrible winner. Visit SmileTunes.com and claim your ultimate victory soundtrack.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Plumbers, today will be a good day. You will be profitable. Your clients will be nice. No one will stand over you and tell you how to fix the thing they actually hired you to fix. You will also feel at peace after switching to Progressive, America's #1 commercial auto insurer. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, #1 commercial auto insurer from the NAIC's 2024 National Premium Data.
You don't pay for iHeartRadio. Our advertisers do. That's why it's always been and always will be 100% free. Radio, music, podcasts. Download the iHeartRadio app now.
Life after cancer matters, and so does showing up.
Join us October 18th in Austin for Livestrong's Run for the Roses 5K and 10K. Run, walk, or just be part of something powerful.
Sign up today at livestrong.org/run.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
From the Lorenz and Lorenz Traffic Center.
Let's take a look at the stalled vehicle that has the right lane blocked over at 35. It's going to be on the northbound side at Howard Lane. 22-minute delay, slow and go from Rumberg Lane. Mopac northbound between Bee Caves and Far West, 11-minute delay. And then we do have slow traffic on Mopac southbound between 45th and Cesar Chavez. That adds up to about 8 minutes added to your drive. I'm Kat Cortez with your Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by RockAuto.com.
Oh, Ben Tyrod, what are you going to do?
I'm way ahead of you. I'll be on RockAuto.com before you can even finish this commercial.
He's right. RockAuto.com. Parts when you need them.
All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto.
Now here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Check. That's check. Enter it now.
This whole surviving life thing is pretty tough. Some people use therapy to get through it, others use their friends, and some just fight their way through. Whatever season of life you're in right now, this podcast is for you. Hi, I'm Morgan from The Bobby Bones Show and host of the new podcast, Take This Personally. I'm bringing on my friends and experts to cover a variety of topics in hopes of us all feeling a little less alone in this crazy world. Nicole, the neuroscientist, will help us understand why we are the way we are.
Our anxious brain or our emotional brain will make us believe things that are not necessarily true.
Jared can relate to fighting our hardest battles.
I was living on couches. Sometimes I was in my car.
I was just all over the place. I think about it now, how many people opened their doors to me.
We will explore what it means to change careers.
I think a lot of people put the pressure on their career to fulfill their passion, when your purpose or your passion and your calling can be something that's much deeper than just your job.
And how we can all find that special love in this wild dating era.
In order to find the right one, before you do that, you have to be able to identify the wrong one.
This podcast will be the guide you need to surviving life with a friend at your side.
If a friendship is about give and take, but we just want to give, and we're like, oh, I don't want to take, I don't want to impose, I don't want to inconvenience her, then you're not reaping the full benefits of friendship.
The first episode is out now. Download it wherever you get your podcast.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Phones, laptops, cars, smart speakers, even on your TV. All devices, all the time. We are everywhere you are. 1300 The Zone. Back to the Craig Way Show. Connect with Craig through the text line by texting ZONE to 81530, followed by your message. Standard message and data rates may apply.
You know, it's possible when the Doobie Brothers come here later this month, this could be one of the tunes they do. Because it doesn't require Michael McDonald's vocals.
I hope so.
Then, so they'll be here. Now, so when you go, and as we pointed out on the program, it has been designated by Anton that he and his mom are going to sit next to me and Linda. So when we go, you've never seen him?
No, I have. No, I've.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'd be my second time. But last time I did it was with Michael McDonald.
Yes, that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's
like a charity show, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It kind of got announced quickly, and it was done like in January of 24. It was a fundraising event.
Yeah. I was in a box for that. I was some
wow.
insider hookup. Yeah. So it was a nice time, man. I tell you what, it was a good time out there.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I said we had one more copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine to give away. So we're going to do that now. Like I said, also that we're kind of alternating between the randomness of somebody just weighing in on the iHeartRadio app. It's kind of a cross between that and actually being able to answer a trivia question, which is normally not that difficult. And I would say it's not that difficult this time, but this is just me talking. So here it is. As has been discussed at length, we've talked about, the Longhorns will open their season at home against Texas State on September 5th. The next week, the Ohio State Buckeyes come in. Could be a number 1 versus number 2, or a number 1 versus number 3, or something like that. Ohio State will probably be number 1, as they are in the coaches poll that was released yesterday. And Texas was number 4 in that coaches poll that came out yesterday. And when the AP poll comes out, there's a decent chance could be 1 and 2. Now, as we have talked about, the whole poll thing really doesn't matter anymore like it used to, certainly the AP and the coaches poll, because of the college football playoffs. And we know that that's the ranking set that matters, is the college football playoff. But it could be number 1 and number 2. We'll find out. Anyway, question is this. Texas and Ohio State meeting in the regular season. They met in 05 and 06, Texas winning in Columbus en route to winning the national championship. Ohio State in 06 leading off here with a win over defending national champion Texas. And, of course, they had the game last year in Columbus that Ohio State won 14-7, and they've got this game as well. However, I would say this. The fact that these two teams have also met in the postseason comes to play. And that brings us to the 2009 Fiesta Bowl. It was after the 2008 season when the Longhorns had their hearts broken by a computer, so to speak. Texas wound up in a three-way tie in the Big 12 South with Texas Tech and Oklahoma. Longhorns had beaten Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl 45-35, went to number one. But, of course, we know Texas Tech won the game in Lubbock 39-33, the Michael Crabtree catch and all that. And then Texas Tech was blown out by Oklahoma in Norman. So there was a three-way tie. In those days, they settled a tie like that if it was a multi-way tiebreaker that was even in the round robin. In the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, in every major Division I conference, the way they broke that tie was it depended on who was higher in the then BCS standings. But if one of the three teams was more than 5 spots away from the other two, that one team would be disqualified, and then they would just go to the head-to-head result. They did not settle ties like that in the Big 12. It was just the totality of the three and where it was in the BCS rankings. Had Texas Tech been removed because they were further down, I think they were like 8 spots down in the BCS standings from Texas and Oklahoma, who were right there with one another. If they had done that, then based on the head-to-head win, then Texas would have advanced to the Big 12 championship game, but they didn't. Oklahoma got to go based on the tiebreak of the three. So Texas did not get to go on and play in the Big 12 championship against Missouri, a team that had already throttled during the year. Oklahoma won that game. They went on to lose to Tim Tebow and Florida in the national championship game. And Texas probably would have stood a decent chance again. That 08 team, many folks feel, was better than the 09 team. So what was left for the 08 team to do? Go to the Fiesta Bowl and play Ohio State. And it was a great game, back and forth. It ended on the Colt McCoy touchdown pass to Quan Cosby with, I believe, 26 seconds to go in the game. And they held on and they won. Texas won the game. The question is, what was the final score? That's your question.
What a way to get to the question.
How about me?
What a meander right there.
That was done on purpose. A lot of times I just go around the garage to get to the barn and I'm just wandering. This time it had a purpose, just to lead you up. Now, here's the question. What was the final score of that Fiesta Bowl? Texas and Ohio State. Be the first person with the correct answer on the talkback line. Download the iHeartRadio app. And then after you download the iHeartRadio app, you search AM 1300 The Zone. And after you search AM 1300 The Zone, then you click on the red button with a white microphone and just leave us a voicemail. You have up to 30 seconds, but you won't need 30 seconds. You just need to tell us what the final score of that Texas-Ohio State Fiesta Bowl was in January of 09, coming off the 08 season. Be the first one to do it correctly. You win a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Okay, while that is sorting itself out, let's go back to talking some Dallas Cowboys. And that would include the comments of Tyler Smith, the Cowboys' outstanding offensive lineman. And Smith, who had plenty to say about what was going on in the battles of the offensive front, and not only the battles in the offensive front, but the value that each side, both on the offensive line and the defensive line, was accruing by going up against one another, made a big difference. So he was asked, what are the next steps now for this Dallas Cowboys offense?
I think just getting better every day. I mean, I think you do great things, and like you have good days, you have bad days, but let's keep stringing together those good days. Let's just get really consistent in what we do and how we do it, and ultimately consistency will stand the test of time.
Okay, all right, that's one thing. And so the consistency means correcting a lot of the mistakes that they had last year.
I mean, like I said, I think just playing more consistently, like those drives you're talking about, whether it was self-inflicted wounds through penalties or just, getting in the red zone and stalling out and not being able to complete drives. I think us just being consistent with how we attack those situations and attack those parts of the field is just going to make us that much better of a team because, you know, you can win games like, you know, scoring every time with field goals and, you know, having a great defense, but let's just score 6 and make it easier for ourselves.
Jaden Blue, the former Longhorn running back who's trying to earn more playing time and more opportunities with the Cowboys, was asked on the impact that Derek Foster has made from year 1 to year 2.
Man, he's, you know, everything for me, man. Like I said, man, we have a very good relationship. You know, he calls me, you know, almost every day and make sure I'm good. And, you know, when we're here, man, he's standing in my ear. You know, he's teaching me the things that I need to know. And, you know, he's always pushing me to be the best version of myself.
Well, it can make a difference when you're trying to improve. And Derek Foster, of course, with 6 years of coaching, is the Cowboys running backs coach. Now, coming off of that and coming off of some inconsistencies, he's had a couple of good moments in camp so far.
Oh, man, really just, you know, the explosiveness, you know, just the big plays, you know, just showing that, you know, I can not only the vision, but, you know, that I can also, you know, be explosive in a running pass game.
Okay. All right. And what does Jaden Blue need to do to earn the trust of his teammates?
Man, just making sure I know what I'm doing, making sure that I'm, you know, not making mental errors, making sure I know my assignment, and mainly just, you know, performing on the field. You know, I think that's the main thing. But, you know, the first thing is just, you know, making sure that I know my assignment so that, you know, I can gain the trust of Dak, you know, the coaching staff and my teammates.
Well, speaking of the coaching staff, Brian Schottenheimer was asked, you know, and I mentioned this last hour, how he and the coaching staff look at the macro, the overview, and then the specific contributions that guys make. Quinnen Williams is a guy that Shotty has talked about from day one of camp. And so he was asked about what value Quinnen Williams brings to this football team.
I think, number one, Quinnen and I, at the end of the season, we had some really cool conversations. I'm not going to share everything we talked about, but just, you know, talking about different things and, you know, the importance of winning and, hey, what philosophy of defense we think we're going to get into. And we talked and, you know, discussed a lot of things. And, you know, he said to me the other day, he was telling me how excited he was about this system. He's going to get a bunch of one-on-ones. He's going to get a bunch of situations where he's, you know, having to get blocked by guards, and with him and Kenny working in there together. But, you know, I see his leadership style now, you know, Todd. I mean, I feel him. Quinnen's, you know, he doesn't speak a lot, but boy, the way he works, the way he practices is impressive. But he's a grown-ass man, and there's some leadership things that we see that you guys probably don't, where there's some things maybe going on that need to get kind of shut down, and he's the first one on the spot to get it shut down. I just think he's finding his voice with us and with this team and this defense, and it's hard. I mean, you ask any player that's ever been moved mid-season, and then our circumstances were unique with losing Marshawn. But I would say way, way, way more comfortable with what we're doing schematically, but also in finding and using his voice, which is a very, very strong voice. He's a guy that if you try to single him, it's going to be a long day for wherever that guard is, even as good as our guards are. I mean, the battles that they're having right now are awesome. But, yeah, he's a guy you have to know where he is. And what that does, it helps guys like Kenny Clark and Tito and guys like that eat a little bit.
Okay. All right. Expanding that further, he was answering a question from Todd Archer, covers the team. Was asked about Christian Parker, the defensive coordinator, and what their conversations are like, especially when guys start to mix it up a little bit and the temperatures rise a little bit in terms of the internal combustion of emotions and the trash talking that goes on, and, you know, all those kinds of things that go on between offense and defense.
Trash on the field. I mean, it's no different than players on game day, coaches on game day. I mean, the energy of playing in the moment. There's always good trash talk. Like I said, I thought yesterday was a really good back and forth day, John. And, you know, I went in and watched the film with the defense yesterday. And again, like I said, it's really cool for me to see how all of this fits together. You know, we're 3 installs in. Yesterday was a review day. I kind of know where we're going now. And, yeah, it's been awesome. And, like I said, he's very convicted on what he wants. And I think he and his staff are doing a terrific job of teaching the scheme, but also not losing the fundamentals.
Okay. All right. And one more from Brian Schottenheimer. You may have noticed, you've seen it in the NFL. We were talking about this the other day. The Guardian caps. Those are the ones that kind of cushion the helmet. Like I said, it kind of looks like a pillow over top of the helmet or something like that. And different guys wear them on different days. And so Shotty was asked to explain the rhyme and reason behind who is wearing those things.
It's league mandated. The Guardian caps are serving a purpose. If you're in certain types of helmets, you don't have to wear them. There's rankings for the helmets. I won't get into specifics of it. It's a color system. But if you wear certain helmets, you don't have to wear the Guardian caps. If you're in helmets that don't meet some of those specifications, then you have to wear the Guardian caps. And then kickers and quarterbacks don't have to wear them.
Okay. All right. There you go. We've got more coming up. We'll continue here and we'll give you the winner if we've got one for that third copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine when we continue here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
From the ABA Heating and Cooling Weather Center, this is Zone Weather.
Austin area weather calling for partly cloudy skies tonight and a low of 77. Sunny tomorrow, a high of 100, a low tomorrow night of another 77.
This report is sponsored by RockAuto.com.
Oh, that grinding and squealing. What are you going to do about that?
Time for new brakes. The chain store never has what I need.
No worries. Go to RockAuto.com for name brands at lower prices.
All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Paid spokesperson.
Hey, hon, the insurance company keeps calling.
What? Sorry.
You know, your car accident, your injuries. What do you want to do?
I actually talked to Thomas J. Henry Law this morning. Did you know they're one of the largest personal injury firms in Texas?
Yep, I see their billboards all the time.
And they have over 200 attorneys and won over $1 billion for their clients.
And that's who you want, right?
Yep, plus I want to get back in the game. It's getting pretty good.
Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. Principal Office, San Antonio.
Hey, this is Hayes Davenport.
And Sean Clements.
We host the podcast Hollywood Handbook. Every episode, we're trying to help our guests improve their careers by mainly focusing on how they can help us improve our careers.
The show's famously super accessible, so you can easily jump into any of our 650 episodes and understand what's going on.
We recommend some of our recent episodes with Ben Stiller, Danny McBride, Riz Ahmed, and Mary Steenburgen.
Listen to Hollywood Handbook on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Hollywood Handbook and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile and save up to $600 a year. I've been scouting these big carriers for a minute now, and I've seen them pull the same play 1,000 times. They promise you the world, then hit you with a price hike right when the game gets tight. But Boost Mobile, their $25 a month unlimited wireless plan is the most consistent player on the floor. No contracts, no price hikes. Unlock the savings today at boostmobile.com/unlock. Based on average annual single line payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months of the Boost Mobile unlimited wireless plan as of January 2026. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
Every day, truck and bus drivers are out there keeping America moving and working to keep our roads safe. But large and heavy vehicles don't stop like cars. They need more time and a lot more space. When you cut in front of a truck or bus too closely, you take away the space the driver needs to stop safely. That space isn't extra, it's essential. So remember, don't cut it too close. Give trucks and buses room. Stay back, stay safe. America's pros rely on you. Paid for by FMCSA.
Skin is deeply personal, which is a strange thing to say about something that everyone can see. It can affect how we move through the world and how much of ourselves we feel ready to show. I'm Dylan Marin, and I'm hosting Skin Queries, a podcast from iHeart Ruby Studio where we talk to people about what it's really like to live with a skin condition. Listen to Skin Queries on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Skin Queries and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
You guys just didn't want it bad enough. That should have been an easy win. What were you doing out there? You got to hustle. You could have made that play if you'd been open.
On the car ride home after the game, when you think you're helping by telling me what I did wrong and what I need to work on, all I hear is that I'm not good enough, that I'm supposed to be perfect, that it's not okay to lose. On the car ride home, all I need to hear is how much you love me and enjoy watching me play. That my worth isn't determined by my performance. That even on my worst day, I am worthy. That you see me learning, growing, and doing my best. And that is enough.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Washington Secondary School Athletic Administrators Association.
Longhorns football plays here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. Back to the Craig Way Show. Connect with Craig through the text line by texting ZONE to 81530, followed by your message. Standard message and data rates may apply.
We're not in love anymore. I keep forgetting things will never be the same again. I keep forgetting how you made that so clear. I keep forgetting.
So as you listen to this, for yacht rockers, this is a staple, a standard, a classic from the godfather of yacht rock, Michael McDonald. I keep forgetting. However, and I've told this story on the air before, this song means something completely different. That rhythm beat means something completely different to others, and I just saw that look in Antone's eyes.
Yeah, you got to be handy with the steel. You got to earn your keep.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right. So this is what this rhythm is to what song?
Regulators.
Yeah.
By Nate Dogg and Warren G.
Yes.
It's Child of the 2000s.
Okay.
That's it. Like hit me like a brick. Just
Okay.
now.
The story that I had is that particular tune, Regulators, that you're referring to, was being played at a Longhorn basketball practice. We were on the road. We were in, I believe it was Knoxville, Tennessee, night before Texas were to play Tennessee in basketball. It was either there or it was or Stillwater. And I heard Regulators, and I went up to the manager and I said, and I'd already had the conversation with him about who selects the music, and he said it was a combination of the coaches and certain players. And I said, you know what this song is? And he said, yeah, it's Regulators. And I said, well, maybe it is now, but that's not what it was originally. He goes, what are you talking about? And I said, it's Michael McDonald. I keep forgetting. He goes, what? And I said, allow me. So I go over to his thing and I punch up. I keep forgetting. He goes, wow.
Yeah.
I said, that's 1982 is what that is. It's Michael McDonald, the Godfather. If like we said, if you're putting individuals on a Mount Rushmore yacht rock, he's the lead one. He's the George Washington.
That's right.
It's Michael McDonald. So anyway, every time I hear that now, I think about that, Okay. Oh, we do have a winner, don't we?
We do have a winner.
The question was, as I took about a solid 10 to 12 minutes
It's about 4 minutes. I was counting.
It seemed like forever to me, even telling the story. But I was talking about Texas beating Ohio State in the January 2009 Fiesta Bowl. After that 08 season, it had the heartbreak of the one loss at Texas Tech. And really and truly, a lot of folks, and I think I'm right there among them, feel that the 08 team might have been better than the 09 team that was undefeated going into that national championship game when Colt McCoy got hurt and they lost to Alabama. Because I think the 08 team was probably a little bit better balanced and better defensively, but that 39-33 loss to Texas Tech, took them out of being able to have a shot to play for the national title. So they wind up going to the Fiesta Bowl and they had a thrilling game. And they wind up beating Ohio State. And I asked the question, what was the final score of that game, which featured a Colt McCoy game-winning touchdown pass to Quan Cosby with about 26 seconds to go. And we were fortunate because where they have you calling games in Glendale, Arizona, which is where it was played, you're down in the corner and pretty low. So it's kind of hard to see what's going on at the other end of the field. So you can kind of watch the monitor or a big screen or whatever. But the action coming towards you on the, I guess it'd be east end of the field, you see it really up close and personal. You see it very close. And it happened to be that play, the pass to Quan Cosby for the game-winning touchdown, happened right in front of us there. So it was a pretty easy call for me to make a broadcasting game. But the question is, what was the final score? Well, one guy knew.
24-21 Texans, Brendan Bonda.
Thank you, Brendan Bonda. Congratulations. 24-21. And it had gone seesaw. Longhorns are down by a couple of scores. Then they build a lead on Ohio State. Buckeyes come back, and they take a 21-17 lead late, and Texas drives downfield. I remember on that drive, James Kirkendall, the Round Rock High School product, comes up with a huge catch that they had to make and get the ball to the line to gain, too. I said, hold your breath when they were pulling the chains out. Picked up enough for the first down, kept the drive going, and there was Quan Cosby to catch a game-winning touchdown. And Quan leaps into the end zone and gets flagged for an unsportsmanlike conduct call. And we've all given him no end of grief about it over the years afterwards. He said he had to do it because as he's running toward the end zone, he looks at the big overhead board and he can see the defender closing on him. So he dives in. Mac Brown was not happy with him doing that at the time. We talked about this, and those two are very close. But Quan did it, and the Longhorns, despite that penalty being assessed on the kickoff, held on for the win. They beat Ohio State to win that Fiesta Bowl. So now, and of course, they played in the Cotton Bowl in the semifinals a couple of years ago when Ohio State won that one 28-14. So they've met a couple of times in the bowl games, and they've met 3 times in the regular season, and this will be the 4th meeting all-time in the regular season between Texas and Ohio State as they get together. And as we pointed out, they could wind up being number 1 versus number 2. Could be number 1 Ohio State, number 2 Texas. It could be when all is said and done. Check of the baseball scoreboard. Good news for Rangers fans. Rangers today shut out the Giants 6-0 and pick up a game on the Astros in the standings, who lost at home to Toronto, the Blue Jays winning in 10 innings by a score of 5-4. Also, it is going to the bottom of the ninth, Tampa Bay on top of Colorado 4-0. And the Cubs finished off a sweep of the Dodgers. They held on. They were up 7-1. The Dodgers scored 5 in the 8th on a 3-run homer by Max Muncy and a 2-run homer by Shohei Ohtani, who hit 2 home runs today. So did Pete Crow Armstrong for the Cubs. The Cubs hold on. They win. The Dodgers have now lost 6 straight games. They lost 3 before the Tarek Skubal trade. And, actually, I guess, yeah. And then 3 after that as well, since the trade was made before they played on Monday. But their lead is narrowing. If Arizona wins tonight, that lead would be down to 8 games in the National League West. And it could wind up being a really tight race in both the National League and it's certainly the American League East, the American League West, between the Astros, Rangers, and Mariners. The East, Tampa Bay trying to hold on ahead of the surging Red Sox and the Yankees in the East. And then in the National League East, the Phillies starting to catch some fire, moving up on the Braves a little bit. Milwaukee, despite the Cubs sweep of the Dodgers, still with a comfortable enough cushion in the Central. And the Dodgers, like I said, they'll be up at least 8 games, maybe still 9 games. If San Diego beats Arizona, they'll be up 9 on both the Padres and the Diamondbacks in the West, although they have been trending down lately, having now lost 6 straight games, LA has. All right, we'll be back to wrap up today's edition of the program here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
Phones, laptops, cars, smart speakers.
I use the iHeartRadio app.
All devices, all the time. Your home for the horns. 1300 The Zone.
I scream. You scream. We all scream. Because Wendy's famous small classic Frosty is just $1 for a limited time. More screaming, happy screaming, summer screaming, dollar small classic Frosty screaming! But please don't scream in the drive-thru. It hurts the employees' ears. Get a $1 small classic Frosty for a limited time, only at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. A la carte only, not valid for delivery. Limit 10 per transaction. Price may be higher in Alaska.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin, thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Skechers elite athlete OG Anunoby has been making history on the basketball court.
Anunoby tips it in. Unbelievable. What a shot.
He's been balling out in Skechers high-performance basketball sneakers, and the world is noticed. But how does OG train off the court to keep in peak physical condition? Hands-free Skechers Slip-ins Aeroburst. They help prepare OG for the physical demands of playing at a championship level. Get your pair of Aeroburst for only $165 at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever high-performance running shoes are sold.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
John Polk was my nemesis. I knew in order to live a rich and fulfilling life, one where I was equal under the law and could be happy and fulfilled, I needed to defeat the message that John Polk was peddling.
I'm John Polk. For years, I was the poster boy of the conversion therapy movement. The ex-gay who married an ex-lesbian and traveled the world telling my story of how I changed my sexuality from gay to straight. I wore the label of ex-gay with pride. That was all until, well, we'll get to that part.
He's like a car wreck, and that people can't keep their eyes off him. He evokes a reaction. He did with me.
I remember it being a major blow to the evangelical community to see one of their brightest, hottest stars go down.
John has never been anything but gay, but he really tried hard not to be.
But you've never heard the real story.
I hated him. I hated John Polk because he was very good at what he did.
So join me as I peel back the layers and expose what happened to me in the midst of conversion therapy, to shine a light on what the ex-gay movement does to people and the pain it continues to cause. And as I look too at the harm I did from within it. Listen to Atonement, the John Polk story on the iHeartRadio app.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. The Longhorns live here.
finish line of this one. Hey, good news if you're a Live Golf fan. There is word coming down from Live Golf today that they do have investors for 2027. So those of you who thought that Live Golf was on life support at best and probably headed to the scrap heap, not so fast. Apparently, they are they're still alive, if not necessarily well, but they supposedly will be back next year. So you can look forward to that if you are a Live Golf fan. Okay, so I appreciate you filling in this past week while Jake has been on vacation, Antone. So you go back to like some we were joking about it earlier, but you have regular duties that you have to attend to.
I do have regular duties. Yes, indeed. Primarily the handling of ticket distribution for our other stations, KVET, Case, KISS, The Beat, some in San Antonio as well. We kind of share a crew with San Antonio. And then everything, in between, from the vehicle maintenance to, setting up the events. If you've ever seen KISS FM or KVET at a concert out at the Moody Center, I'd probably be there. Or at the very least, I was the one that helped build that event. And then also I'm hopping on planes pretty often to go to these other markets and help out with them. I was in Boise a couple weeks ago, Orange County a week after that, and then in a few weeks I'll be going to Las Vegas for the music festival.
Okay. All of that wrapped around your drumming duties.
That's right. Yeah. It's so hard, Craig. It's so hard to be on the radio and fool around in the back there and then get to go play Rockstar. I can't tell you that I wish I could relate the intangibles of the challenges of this lifestyle to you.
I appreciate it. It's going to wrap up the program for today. Hey, coming up tomorrow on the program, we will continue our Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine giveaways. Like we said, once per hour, so 3 per day for 3 weeks. So as we head down the backside of week number 1, the Thursday show tomorrow will include 3 more magazine giveaways. Also, we'll continue our SEC football previews, the Kentucky Wildcats on deck. And we'll visit with their play-by-play voice, Tom Leach, tomorrow on the program. So they're kind of going hand in hand. The SEC previews 1 per day, and the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine giveaways 3 per day. And we'll do that again tomorrow on the program. We invite you to stay tuned. Bucky and BK are up next. For the producer, Antone Lycum, I'm Craig Way. Thanks for joining us. We'll visit with you tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock right here on 13 Under the Zone.
This Sports Spotlight is brought to you by Capital One Spark Cash Plus, founding partner of iHeart Women's Sports. Did you know that this year, Kelsey Fendler, a Grand Canyon river rafting guide, became the fastest woman, youngest woman, and first American woman to row solo from California?